What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is a story where Izuku was trained with the teenager mutant ninja turtles. In this alternate universe, Izuku was chosen to be All Might's successor. And during his 5th month of his 10-month training, Izuku was returning home from the market until he noticed suspicious people doing something strange. But before Izuku could call the police or a hero, he saw 4 figures coming out of the shadows, and they fought these people. And when our protagonist follows them, he sees that these 4 figures are 4 teenage mutant ninja turtles. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations and support the amazing author Emmanuel Lucas 236 for writing this story. Now, let's get into part 1. In a world where 80% of the population was born with mysterious powers called quirks, there is a boy. His name is Izuku Midoriya, and his dream is to be a hero. But he had a problem. With 80% of the population being born with these powers, the remaining 20% were normal people, and Izuku was unlucky enough to be born a part of that population. Because of this, he suffered a lot from the age of 4. Throughout his school life, Izuku was bullied for simply being someone without a quirk. Even his former childhood friend Katsuki Bakugo made his life hell. So much so that, to make the boy's psychological worse, Bakugo nicknamed Izuku the name Deku, which means useless, defenseless and among other bad things. But not everything was bad in the boy's life. Even suffering at the hands of his classmates, teachers and his tormentor, Izuku didn't give up on his dream of becoming a hero. It's because, well, I believe that the most obvious reason, and that most of you already know, is because of a hero. Japan's current #1 hero. All Might. Izuku is such a fan of this hero, he even watched All Might's debut video thousands of times, where he saved 100 people in a short time. But the other reason the boy wasn't unhappy with his life was his family. Compassed by Inko and Hisashi Midoriya. Even knowing that his son was born a quirkless, his parents always supported him and helped him as soon as possible, especially his father. If Hisashi were a hero, he would be Izuku's #1 hero pretty easy. Until, a tragic thing happened that would change his life. Hisashi Midoriya died. This shook the Midoriya family, particularly Izuku. It was very painful for him. But even so, Izuku didn't give up and decided not to cry, because that's not what his father would want. Since then, from time to time, Izuku would do little exercises at his house. It wasn't a big deal, but he got some muscle out of it. But little did Izuku know that from the age of 14, his life would change for the better. But also for the worse. After finishing another horrible day at his school, receiving an advice to kill himself from Bakugo, meeting All Might and discovering his secret, saving his ex-friend from a villain made of slime, who has tried to kill the Greenish before, and from being scolded by the pro-heroes, Izuku was blessed at the end of that day. All Might, who had said that the boy couldn't be a hero without having a quirk, saw the boy spring into action to save the Bakugo, and regretted what he said. The hero looked for the protagonist, and told him the following phrases. "You too can become a hero." That phrase made Izuku's heart rejoice, and made him burst into tears. After all, the only person who had told him that the boy could be a hero was his late father, and seeing his idol speak those phrases, made him very happy. And it was from here that Toshinori Yagi chose Izuku Midoriya as his successor to receive One for All. But for that, Izuku needed to train his body to be able to wield the power. So for that, he would need to go through 10 months of training to pass this power on to him. All this before the entrance exam for UA, the hero school the protagonist wants to apply to. But little did Izuku. In fact, little did the world know that this wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. In this world, there are 4 turtle brothers who face an evil that has no good intentions with the world. This evil came to Japan, and these 4 brothers came together to stop this evil. Returning to our protagonist, it's been 5 months since he started his hellish training. After all, he had to clean up an entire beach that was full of garbage. It would have been a lot worse if he'd been the way he used to be, skinny. But thanks to the little exercises he did, this training was less terrible than it would have been. But even so, it made him tired, but on the other hand, that was good, because his physique was much better compared to 5 months ago. Anyway, it was night in Musatafu. 2000 hours to be more specific. He just went out to the market with the purchases his mother asked for. Inko didn't want to make her son go because she worries about him so much, but Izuku insisted, saying it would do him good to walk a little more. That was kind of true. Izuku just wanted to do this to do more leg and foot exercises, to see how much he's improved. Izuku. Let's see. Recipes for katsudon. Check. Lettuce. Check. Pisces. Check. Milk. Check. Orange juice box. Check. Great, I've got it all. Izuku was already at the market gate, and after checking if the purchases were there, he left for his house. Izuku. It's been 5 months since All Might chose me as his successor. But to be able to wield his power, I need to improve my physique even more. I understand that, but I didn't think this workout would be this painful. Well, at least this is showing a positive result. I got a little stronger than before, but I still need to improve if I want to be a hero. So I'll be able to save people with a smile on my face, just like All Might and just like. Izuku stopped walking when remembering a person. Just like you did that for me, Dad. Izuku got a sad look. Even though it was 6 years after the loss of his father, it still messed with him. But Izuku won't let that shake him that easily. He got a determined look, looked at his right hand and clenched his fist. Izuku. I will make it. He said with a smile. Izuku continued his walk, and just as he was about to turn the corner, he saw something suspicious. He saw people wearing strange clothes. They looked like ninja clothes, only they had a symbol that looked like a foot, just painted all over red. Some of them had swords, axes, scythes with chains, also known as kusarigama, and not to mention they also carry shurikens and kunes with them. Izuku. But what is this? Who are these people? Is it some kind of cosplayer union or something else? No. Because if it was, why would they have these weapons with them? Are they villains? I better take a closer look. Izuku saw that those strange ninjas entered an alley, and in the most silent way possible, the boy approached. He knows that doing so would be risky. After all, if they were real villains and saw Izuku, what would he do? And if they weren't, how would he know? Izuku wanted to be sure, especially in this neighborhood where he and his mother lived close by. Izuku entered the alley, but in order not to risk making a noise, he left the bag hidden in a pile of discarded boxes. That way those people wouldn't hear him approaching, and nobody would pick up their groceries. Well, that's what he expected. That done, the boy leans against a corner wall and sticks his head out to see what these people are up to. He saw those people carrying some boxes and putting them in a truck. But one of these ninjas didn't hold the box very well and accidentally dropped it, making Izuku have a vision of what was inside. It appeared to be cylinders with a slimy green liquid inside. Izuku. What is this? His attention was soon stolen by what seemed to be a roar that came from inside the truck. Inside that truck, some kind of tiger came out with an eye patch over its left eye. He didn't have a tail, and he wore an outfit that looked like a character from those old western movies. So much so that he has 2 holsters on either side of his legs, and in them he has a gun that looks like pistols. This tiger had a furious face, and his face made Izuku shudder in fear. Be careful, newbie. Novice ninja. I'm sorry, sir. The ninja, who seemed to be the rookie, bowed as a sign of asking for mercy. You're lucky you didn't have to break this and the boss wasn't here. Otherwise, you'd die right here and now. He said with a lot of coldness in his tone, which made the ninja shiver. Take this and put everything in the truck. Now. Without saying anything else, the rookie ninja did just that. He took that vial and put it in the box, then put it in the truck. Izuku no longer had any doubts. Those people are certainly too suspicious. Izuku. Oh boy. I better call the police or call some hero. Maybe All Might will help. In the midst of desperation to try to get his cell phone, Izuku accidentally drops it, which causes a noise. Izuku. Damn it. Izuku was sweating liters. And he heard someone approaching him. From the way the person was walking towards him and the sound that sounded like a gun, it was definitely that tiger that was walking towards him. Izuku wanted to run, but his fear was so much that it felt like he was paralyzed. He was pretty sure he was going to die. Until. Sir, look. One of these ninjas pointed to the top of a building, and everyone, including Izuku, saw 4 silhouettes up there. One of them is a turtle with a blue stripe on its face. He has 2 katanas on his back, 2 military tactical bags on his waist, shoulder protectors made of metal, black bands around his 2 wrists, and he wore ninja pants. His name is Leonardo. The other turtle wears a purple headband. He has a boo staff on his back, he wears glasses, and on his forehead, he had a device that looked like a microscope eyeglasses. In addition to wearing a utility bag, he wears beige pants with protectors on both knees. His name is Donatello. The other has a red stripe across his face. He has 2 sei at his waist, a utility bag at the front of his waist, his wrists are covered in ropes with what looks like some kind of caoutchouc, and he wears big shorts. His name is Raphael. And last, but not the least, we have the turtle that wears an orange headband. He has 2 nunchakus on his waist, a skateboard with small rockets embedded in his back, military tactical bags on his waist, and wears black shorts. His name is Michelangelo. These are the Ninja Turtles, and they have their eyes focused on those ninjas, and it looked like their eyes were blank. Izuku. Who are they? Izuku couldn't quite see who they were exactly, but he felt that they weren't a threat to him. Catch them, he said as he ran to the truck and the ninjas took their weapons to attack. Turtles jumped off the building and landed on the ground. With that, the ninjas advanced towards the four brothers, and the ninjas went towards them without taking their weapons. Michelangelo jumped up and kicked one of the ninjas in the face until another tried to attack him with his sword, but he couldn't as Raphael grabbed his right wrist and twisted it, causing the ninja to scream in pain before receiving a punch. Straight in the face. But soon Raphael's attention goes to another ninja who tried to attack him with a scythe, but he dodged it and punched the ninja straight in the stomach, causing him to bow a little, but before he could fall to the ground, Raph grabbed him by the head. Raphael. Mikey. Michelangelo. Bring it on. Michelangelo turned his back so that Raphael could put the ninja's head. And so he did. Raphael rammed the ninja's head right into Michelangelo's hull, causing him to collapse in pain. Raphael. Michelangelo. High five. The two clapped hands and broke apart to attack other ninjas. Leonardo was dodging without much difficulty while the ninja that was attacking him with an axe until he hit the ninja's hands, making him drop the axe, and then the ninja took a punch to the chin and face. Until another ninja appeared behind him, trying to secure the turtle with the Kusarigama's chain, but Leo saw this and let the chain catch on his left wrist. After this happens, he pulls the chain with his right arm, making the ninja go to him. And when he arrived, Leo grabbed his face with his left hand, punched him twice in the stomach, lifted him in the air to knock the ninja straight to the ground. Leonardo. You underestimated me. Said in English as he took the chain off his left wrist. Donatello, who had just dodged a sword, kicked the ninja that attacked him in the leg and then gave another kick to the enemy's face, causing him to fall to the ground. Until he heard the noise of the truck moving, and there was no way they could follow them now, after all they were busy with the ninjas present. But Donnie was smart, so he took a device out of his utility bag and threw it right behind the truck, causing the device to stick to the back of the vehicle. Unbeknownst to Donatello, a ninja was advancing towards him with a sword pointed at him, and Izuku saw it. Izuku. Hey, watch out. Donatello. Huh. Donnie thought it was strange another voice that was not his brother's voice, telling him to be careful. However, he put that aside when he felt the sword hit his shell. And to the ninja and Izuku's surprise, Donatello turned around with a smug smile. Donatello. Really? Donnie scowled at the ninja before punching him right in the face, causing the ninja to fall to the ground. In case it wasn't clear, I'm a turtle. Study more, rare intelligence. He said before advancing towards another ninja. With only 6 ninjas left, the turtles decided to end it now. Raphael lunged at one of them and kept using his body to hit the other, causing the others to crash into the wall. Michelangelo dodged an attack with the axe and then attacked the ninja with his own skate, hitting him right in the face of the enemy. As he fell, Michelangelo looked at his skateboard and stroked it. Michelangelo. My baby. He said while hugging his skateboard. With only 3 left, Leonardo headbutted a ninja, causing his enemy to be stunned, but he didn't have time to think, as Leo finished him off with a kick to the stomach, causing him to crash into the wall. Donnie was using his staff to defend himself from the attacks of the penultimate ninja, who was attacking him with his sword, until Donatello hit the handle of his staff squarely on his opponent's foot, making him scream in pain. Donnie took advantage of this, swung his staff around and slammed into the sides of the ninja's torso, and spun around to give the last boost to the enemy's head. Izuku. Wow. They are amazing. He thought with a smile as he saw the 4 brothers gathering to face the last ninja that was standing. And that was the rookie ninja. End of soundtrack. Novice ninja. Stay away from me, freaks. The ninja advanced towards them to attack them with the sword in his hands, but Leonardo stopped his blow by grabbing the novice's wrists, making him drop the weapon. As he did so, he pushed him to the ground. Lying on the floor, the rookie kept crawling away from them until he stopped at the wall. He had no further escape. Leonardo. Listen here. If you don't want us to do something with you, then you better tell us what we want to know. Novice ninja. I won't tell you anything. Even saying that, it was obvious that he was afraid of them. Leonardo. Believe me. We can do this the easy way, or Raphael's way. He said while pointing to Raph, who kept hitting his hand on his fist a couple of times. Donatello. Trust me, you don't want it to be Raph's way. Donnie said that as a signal for the rookie to speak up. He didn't want too much violence. Leonardo. Tell me. Where's the shredder? What was in that truck? And why did he and Foot Clan come here? Novice ninja. Look, I joined this clan a little time ago. So I don't know much. Raphael. You'd better not lie, you son of a. Raphael was going for the ninja, but Leonardo stopped him with his hand. As a sign of, leave it to me. And Raph obeyed, even though he didn't want to. Leonardo. So tell us what you know. Novice ninja. Look, all I know is, the Foot Clan left New York to come here because they made a deal with a group of villains here. Izuku. A group of villains. Izuku was listening carefully, so much so that he stopped hiding. Leonardo. And who is this group of villains? Who are they? And where is the Shredder? Novice ninja. Like I said, I joined them not long ago. I was just an ordinary thug, that's all. Raphael. Tell us what we want to know. Raphael was losing patience. So much so that he punched the wall hard, causing it to crack and making the rookie freak out. Novice ninja. All I know is that this group is called the League of Villains. Look, I swear to God I don't know where the Shredder is or why they're working together and or what they're up to. After all, this was my first job and I didn't think I'd end up in this situation. I swear that's all I know. The ninja was cringing as he puts his hands in front of him, hoping not to receive a blow. Leonardo. Does anyone here know what this League of Villains is? Leo asked his brothers. Donatello. I don't know, but I can look them up in our hideout. Maybe there's something related to them that we can find. Michelangelo. Guys. Mikey tried to get his brother's attention, but Raphael. Whoever it is, let's find them and finish them off to make them regret joining the foot. He said as he pounded his fist on his hand. Michelangelo. Guys. Leonardo. Raph, think about it. If they left New York and joined this League of Villains, then these guys can be a heavy load. So we can't underestimate them. He said as he puts out his hand on his chin. Donatello. Leo is right. We should be careful if we run into any of them. If the Shredder has made an alliance with them, then they can be formidable enemies. Michelangelo. Guys. Mikey raised his tone a little more, but Raphael. Okay, whatever. We beat them in the face anyway. Donatello. That's if we don't alert the heroes here and don't draw too much attention. Leonardo. That, and also something else, Raphael. Remember what Master Splinter said. Leo. Raph. Never underestimate your enemy's ally. Raphael, I know that very well, Leo. I still remember the last time I underestimated someone. He said while remembering the times he underestimated an enemy. Even more so when he trained with Splinter. Michelangelo. Guys. Leo. Raph. Donnie. What's up, Mikey? Michelangelo. We have a little problem over here. Leonardo. What little problem? Michelangelo didn't say anything, he just turned slowly and looked in one direction, and when the brothers looked at where Mikey was looking, they turned pale. They saw Izuku standing there looking at them, and he had a surprised face. Izuku? Whoa. Izuku already has a better view of who they were. He was shocked at first, but he let it go when he saw what they did. Donatello. Calm down, kid. No need to panic. We won't do you any harm. He said while showing his hands to the greenish man. As a sign that they weren't going to do anything to him. But that's not why the protagonist was like that. Izuku. You. Were. Amazing. Yes. Izuku entered his fanboy mode. And that took the brothers by surprise. Leonardo. What do you mean, kid? Izuku. You were amazing. The way you fought as a team was amazing. Are you new heroes? What kind of quirk do you have? Izuku thought the brothers were like that because of a quirk. But. Michelangelo. What is a quirk? Mikey whispered to Donnie. Donatello. I think he's referring to the powers that people have these days. Donnie whispered turning to Mikey. They spoke in English in the hope that Izuku doesn't understand what they're saying and that he won't hear. But to their surprise, Izuku heard and understood what they were talking about. Izuku is a studious and intelligent person, so he understands the English line. Izuku. Wait a minute, you mean you're not like that because of a quirk? His question made Leo, Raph and Donnie despair. Until Raph decided to act. Raphael. Oh, so. Michelangelo. We are not. Why? Ouch. Raph and Donnie punched Mikey on the head, which made him whimper and got a comical bump on his head. Leo hit his hand in the face. Izuku was in shock. He's seen many quirks where the person had a physical change. Those are mutation quirks, and he thought the four brothers had that. But to his surprise, it wasn't. Leonardo saw Izuku's state of shock and became worried. Leonardo. Hey little guy, are you okay? He said while waving at him. Izuku didn't say anything. The shock was such that he fell hard to the ground, passing out. And that despaired the brothers. Leonardo. Hey, little guy, wake up. He said while shaking the boy's shoulders. Raphael. See what you did, Mikey. Michelangelo. I'm sorry. Said while shedding comical tears. Donatello. Guys, we'll see about this boy later. Now we have to. Donnie stopped talking when he saw where the ninjas were lying, and to their surprise, they all disappeared. They became so focused on Izuku that the foot ninja took advantage of the situation and left. Donatello. Yeah, we have one more problem. He said while scratching his head. Time skip. 2 minutes. Bringing the chibi Leonardo and Donatello trying to wake up the chibi Izuku. While the chibi Raphael was chazzing at chibi Michelangelo. Izuku was starting to wake up and gradually his eyesight improved until he saw the 4 turtles looking at him with worried eyes. Leonardo. He's waking up. Hey boy. Is everything okay? Do you remember who you are? Donatello. Do you know where you live and who you live with? Raphael. How many fingers do you see here? Raph kept showing his 3 fingers to see if Izuku was thinking well. Michelangelo. Do you prefer Marvel or DC? Mikey's question made the brothers, including Izuku, look at him with a "is this for real?" Until Izuku came to his senses again and dragged himself a little away from them. Leonardo. Hey, calm down, little guy. We won't do you any harm. Raphael. Unless you give us a reason to do so. Raphael's comment made Izuku shiver a little. Donatello. Raphael, you're not helping. Donnie gave his brother a little elbow in the arm. Raphael. Calm down, I was just kidding. Haha, look at his face. He believed. He said while chuckling. Seeing that they wouldn't do anything bad to him and seeing that they're just trying to calm him down, Izuku slowly stands up. Izuku. Who are you? Leonardo. Little guy, we are ninjas. He said while making a small reverence. Raphael. Mutant ninjas. He said while smiling and leaning against the wall. Donatello. Basically, we are turtles. Michelangelo. Oh, and we're teenagers too. We're almost into adulthood, but we're still teenagers. He said while smiling. Izuku. Hold on, so you're basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? He asked with a finger on his chin. Donatello. It's like that right there, but I think Ninja Turtles is good enough. He said while he had a comical bead of sweat on his head. Michelangelo. Oh, we could have a better name than that, right? Like, Shadow Heroes. Night Watchmans. Or how about? Mikey was silent when Raphael put his hand in his mouth. Brother for him to be quiet. Raphael. First. We don't need that. And second, we have bigger problems to worry about and this kid is one of those problems. He said while pointing to Izuku. Izuku. What do you mean? Izuku recoiled a little when Raphael pointed at him. Leonardo approached him and placed his right hand on Izuku's left shoulder. Leonardo. What's your name, little guy? Izuku. Izuku me Midoriya. Leonardo. Right, Midoriya. I want you to try to forget everything you saw or heard here. Don't tell anyone about this or us. Don't get involved in this or involve the police or the heroes in this story. This is our problem and we'll solve it. Got it? Izuku nodded. Good. Take care Izuku Midoriya. Leo patted the greenish man's shoulder and turned to his brothers. Let's go, guys. After saying that, the 4 ninja turtles jumped and climbed the buildings until they reached the top of one. Raphael, Donatello and Michelangelo already ran away. Leo had one last look at Izuku before leaving with his brothers. Izuku. What's going on? Back to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were jumping from building to building, doing somersaults, pirouettes, or doing parkour. Until they jumped onto a street where no one was around and unplugged the manhole cover and jumped in, but of course, one of them put the cover back in place. They ran through the corridors of the sewers until they accessed a secret door that let them into their hideout in the sewers of Musatafu. Their hideout didn't have much to compare to their house in New York, but it had enough for them to call home. Inside was an arcade machine, a punching bag, a training dummy, a small lab, a large computer with several screens, a kitchen, a large skate ramp, a small dojo, and a television for them to spend time watching something. Leonardo. Master Splinter, we have arrived. He said as he got on his knees to his master. He is an old and tall rat, but very skilled and strong. He wears a light red kimono, and on the back of this kimono was a symbol that appears to be a flower. His name was Hamada Yashi, but now he has another name, Splinter. Splinter. I'm glad you're back, my sons. He said before getting up. So, how was it? Did you get any information? Donatello. Not much. The only thing we find out is that the Shredder came here because he has allies here. And from what we find out, they call themselves the League of Villains. Now, what their intentions are, we still have no clue. So I'm going to research them and try to find their location. Raphael. And when we find them, we'll finish them off. We'll show this league what true turtle power feels like. Splinter. Raphael, we don't know what the Shredder's plans are or what this League of Villains is capable of. We're not in New York anymore, so the things here can be much more difficult than before. We must be patient. Raphael. Yes, sensei. He said as he bowed. Michelangelo. Well, I'm going to have a pizza. I'm hungry. While Mikey was going to the kitchen, Raphael went to the machine to play some games. Donatello. Well, I'll go to the computer and find out something about this league and try to find their location of the Foot Clan. I put a tracker on that truck. Leonardo. Splinter. Good job Donnie. Donatello. Donatello walked to his lab and Leonardo got up to go to the couch. Splinter decided to ask his kids a question. Splinter. Oh, and have you been spotted? Splinter's question made the four brothers stiffen. Raphael froze while losing the game, Michelangelo didn't even care when he heard the sound of the microwave beeping, Donatello was shivering, and Leonardo swallowed hard. Splinter seized their reactions and sighed. Splinter. So you were seen. He said while putting his hand on his face. Leo. Raph. Donnie. Mikey. Sorry, master. They said as they ran and bowed in front of their father. Which made him sigh even more. Splinter. You should pay more attention. Do you even know who the person who saw you is? Back to Izuku. Izuku was already in front of his apartment door. He still couldn't believe what he saw and heard. After the turtles left, Izuku left the place as quickly as possible, but of course, he took back the shopping bag. Upon opening the door, he sees his mother in the kitchen. Izuku, hi mom. I'm here. Inko. Oh, hi, honey. I was wondering when you were going to show up. She said smiling. Inko is a beautiful woman and a great mother. Even after Hisashi's death and having a child without a quirk, Inko still took care of herself and loved her son very much. Even though she had doubts that her son would be able to fulfill his dream. Inko. Are you okay, son? She said seeing that Izuku seemed to be distracted and she was worried that something happened to him that is affecting him. Izuku. Sure, mom. I just need a shower. Haha. Anyway, here's the shopping. Izuku left the groceries on the table and walked to the bathroom to shower. Inko. I wonder what happened. Upon entering the bathroom, Izuku leaned against the door. That night was crazy. He had so many questions on his mind. Who were those people wearing those ninja clothes? Who is the League of Villains? Who were those turtles? If that wasn't a quirk, then what was it? How did they get like this? But the main question he had in mind was, Izuku, will I ever see them again? The next morning in Japan, Izuku woke up, still thinking about last night. He still had many questions on his mind. Maybe even more questions than before. He tried to forget all about it, as that blue-banded turtle said. But there was no way to do that. Izuku. How am I going to forget everything I saw or heard last night? What is going on? He thought as he got up. It is possible for someone to go through a mutation like that, without it involving a quirk. How did those guys turn into mutant turtles? If they're trying to help by fighting those people, then why not ask the heroes for help? Who is this Foot Clan, and who is this Shredder? He thought as he walked to the bathroom and entered it to do his traditional hygiene, like brushing his teeth and taking a shower. Izuku's head was racing at this point. He is a person fascinated by quirks and an analyst when it comes to it. But he's also a worried person, and seeing those kind of people in his town who possibly don't have any heroes knowing this to help worried him. He wants to do something. He wants to help. He wants answers. But he was afraid of what would happen to him if he spoke. Well, the boy's head is racing. But now he had more important things to focus on, like his training with All Might. Of course, he would have to put up with one more day at that damn school, but he did. The important thing is to stay strong to achieve his dream. After finishing his shower, Izuku goes to the kitchen and sees his mother making breakfast for the two of them. Izuku, good morning mom. Inko, oh, good morning dear. Sit down, the breakfast is almost ready. Izuku sat on the table, but he still had those thoughts in his mind. He stared into space, his mind processing everything that had happened last night. Izuku was so silent that Inko even found it strange. Inko. Son, are you alright? Izuku. Huh? Inko. It's just that ever since you arrived from the market last night, you've been acting weird. Like your head is really in the clouds, or like you've seen something that makes your head fill with questions. Izuku. You have no idea, mom. Inko. Is something bothering you, honey? You can tell me if you want. She said while serving breakfast, which consists of steamed rice and grilled fish. Izuku. Should I tell her? No, better not. I don't want to make my mother worried or get her involved in something that has nothing to do with her. He thought as he looked at his breakfast and then at his mother. Inko. Son. Izuku. Ah. It's nothing, mom. It's just a silly thing, it's no big deal. He said while eating a piece of the fish. Inko. Are you sure? Inko gave that look that only a mother is capable of, which made Izuku give away a little. Izuku. It's just. Mom, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? Inko. Like what? Izuku. Like. People with very unusual appearances. As if they have all green skin and they wear combat equipment. And that, possibly, can't speak our language, and also another. As Izuku described it, Inko had an imaginary cloud under her head and a hand under her chin, trying to imagine what her son was talking about. Until. Inko. Like an alien. Yes, that was her conclusion. Izuku. No, Mom. Like a turtle. Inko. A turtle. Why a turtle? Izuku. It's just. Izuku saw that this conversation wouldn't go anywhere unless he told the whole truth, which he didn't want to do. It's nothing. I watched one American movie these days and I was thinking about these things. Haha. Izuku was hoping his mother would believe his lie. He didn't like doing this to her, but he didn't want to worry his mother, let alone get her involved in a matter that could be dangerous. And to his relief, she believed it. Inko. Oh, I see. That movie must have been pretty weird to make you look like this, she said while chuckling. Izuku. Yeah. That's also my father's fault, who really liked those kinds of movies. He said, smiling when remembering the good times where they spent time watching movies, and most of the time it was movies that Hisashi chose. Inko. Haha, good times, huh? She said with a sincere smile. Izuku. Yeah. Good times. He said while looking at the empty chair next to them. But he made a small smile remembering those times. Until he decided to eat his breakfast. The day was another training day. Another day to work hard to get stronger to achieve your dream of being a hero. However, he had another thought in mind. Izuku looked at the window and thought. Izuku. What are they doing right now? Opening start. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It shows Izuku leaving one and receiving a text on his cell phone. And when the boy looks at the message, he smiles. The scene switches to showing Izuku on top of that building where he discovered All Might's secret. Heroes in a half-shell turtle power. Soon, Izuku looks back and sees them, his new friends and considerate brothers, the Ninja Turtles, smiling at him. Here we go. It's the lean, green, ninja team. On the scene, cool teens doing ninja things. So extreme, out the sewer, like laser beams. It rocked with the shell-shocked Pizza Kings. It shows Izuku wearing a Hamato clan ninja outfit with a green sash with 2 holes in his face, and then shows him holding one of Leonardo's katanas and training with it. Then it shows Izuku training with one of Michelangelo's nunchakus. Can't stop these radical dudes. The secret of the ooze made the chosen few emerge from the shadows to make their moves. Then he practices with a bow stick from Donatello and then with Raphael say. The good guys win and the bad guys lose. It then shows Shigaraki and the League of Villains striking a deal with Orokusaki the Shredder. Then it shows the League of Villains and the Foot Clan united. Leonardo's the leader in blue. Does anything it takes to get his through. Here it shows Leonardo teaching Izuku everything his master father taught him and his brothers. Like patience, discipline, the art of the ninja, and of course, meditation. Donatello is a fellow, has a way with machines. Here it shows Izuku helping Donatello to repair the turtle's van, and they both give each other a thumbs up as a sign of good work. Raphael has the most attitude on the team. Here it shows Raphael holding a punching bag for Izuku who is hitting him until he lets go, causing Izuku to fall while punching. Making Raphael laugh. Michelangelo, he's one of kind. And you know just where to find him when it's party time. Here it shows Izuku and Michelangelo talking about their favorite heroes, and that conversation got the two into their fanboy side. Master Splinter taught them every single skill they need. Here it shows Master Splinter watching Izuku who is training. And he is happy with what he is seeing. To be one lean, mean, green, incredible team. It shows Izuku and the Ninja Turtles on top of a building in Musatafu to find the Foot Clan and stop their crimes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At this point, we see Izuku and Michelangelo kicking the faces of some of the clan's ninjas. Izuku and Raphael punching each other. It then shows him and Donatello using the grappling hooks to climb a building. And finally, it shows Izuku and Leonardo cutting some robots, which belong to the Krogs. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. And the opening ends with Izuku and the turtles climbing the top of a building and staying in the shadows. He could see almost none of them, but he could see that their eyes were wide in the shadows. And they're all looking at you. End of opening. Izuku was walking to Dagoba Beach after another day at Eldera's school. Staying in that place was horrible. He had no friends and no one to talk to. Not even the teachers and staff cared about him. All this for 2 reasons. Because he's someone with no quirk in Katsuki Bakugo. He was always praised because of his power, which is quite powerful, but it filled his ego. Izuku even thought about trying to regain his old friendship with him, but it was no use. Bakugo always acted in a brave and aggressive way with Izuku, and the green one couldn't do anything. Still talking about him, Izuku noticed that during this time since he saved that slime villain, the Bakugo became quieter and didn't keep bothering the greenish one. He found this strange, but he had more important things to think about. And his training was one of them. Kashinori. Ah, young Midoriya. You arrived just in time. Toshinori Yagi, who in his All Might form is all-powerful and muscular, but in his normal form, he is a very thin male with sharp angular features and long limbs, with his long neck and missing eyebrows. All this thanks to a wound he suffered from his enemy. Toshinori. Ready for another day of training? Izuku. Sure, I am. Said in a neutral way, which Toshinori found very strange, because with the time he spent with the Greenish, he never acted that way. Toshinori. Young Midoriya, is something bothering you? Did something happen? Izuku. Well. Izuku. Should I tell him? It would be a good one, because he could help. But if I tell them, will they come after me? Would that end up getting All Might into trouble? I better not risk it. But, I think it doesn't hurt to take a curiosity. He thought about putting his hand on his chin and looked at Toshinori, who was looking at him, waiting for his successor to speak. Izuku. All Might. Toshinori. Yes. Izuku. You must have seen a lot of things in your hero days, right? Even more so when you were younger. Toshinori. Yes, I've seen, felt and experienced many things in this life. But there are certain things I'd rather forget about. Toshinori was referring to his time when Gran Torino trained him, and it was sufferable for the blonde. But why are you asking this question? Izuku. So. Have you ever seen people mutate without it involving a quirk? Toshinori. What? Izuku. Let's suppose that one. Not one, 4 people went through some kind of mutation. But it wasn't caused by those people's quirks or anything else. And that those people turned into some kind of turtle. Mutants. As Izuku spoke, Toshinori found this more awkward. Man has seen many things in his time as a hero, but this is new. Toshinori. Is there anything else they are? He asked with his hand on his chin. Izuku. Are they ninjas? He said while letting out an embarrassing smile. Toshinori found this more strange. Why would his successor be asking this kind of question? What question is that? Where did he get that question from? What made him ask that question? Toshinori. Look, since I was younger, I've seen many things in my life. But this is new. In fact, what you just said sounds like it came out of a fictional story. Young Midoriya, have you seen it? Anything you want to tell me? Izuku was surprised. If even All Might doesn't know this or has seen anything like it, then who but him knows? This only increased his curiosity about the turtles even more. Toshinori. Young Midoriya. Toshinori's call made Izuku wake up from his little world. He had to come up with an excuse and put that aside for now. Izuku. Ah. It's just. I watched a really weird American movie these days and I was wondering if something like that was possible. Izuku was hoping that All Might would believe his lie, and to his relief, he did. Toshinori. Oh, yes. I like the American movies. Some are really fun and interesting. These days I saw a movie where a boy is bitten by a spider and gains spider powers. Hahaha. This movie and yours sequels were fun. Izuku. I'm glad he believed it. Izuku sighed in relief, until. Wait, is this movie he's talking about is what I'm thinking about? Toshinori. Well, let's stop bickering and continue with the training. And by the looks of it, we're progressing well so far. He said when he saw the garbage that still remained on the beach. There was still a lot, but not so much compared to what I had 5 months ago. Let's continue, young Midoriya. Izuku. Yes, sir. Time skip. 4 hours later. Time. 1900 hours. Turtles hideout. In this time, Izuku trained. Toshinori saw great progress in the boy's training and saw that his physique was great. Izuku had already told All Might that he trained to get strong from time to time and that made his training easier. He didn't have a big body, but he had a commendable physique. Now with the training, his physique has improved a lot, as much as it hurt from time to time. While Izuku trained, we went back to the turtles' hideout. Mikey was listening to music with his headphones while dancing. Raphael was beating his punching bag. Donnie was at the computer trying to find out about the League of Villains and their possible crimes. Leonardo was taking care of the weapons, keeping them clean and well maintained. As for Master Splinter, he was meditating. Or at least trying to, for he was still thinking about what his son said about such a green-haired boy. Flashback. Splinter was standing in front of his sons, who were on their knees. Splinter. Explain to me, how were you seen? Leonardo. We were looking for the Foot Clan around town, and when we found it, we faced them. We had no difficulty. But what we didn't notice is that there was a boy there, and he saw us. Donatello. He even thought we looked like this because of quirks. We even tried to use that lie, but. Raphael. The stupid Mikey had to open his mouth to tell the truth about us. Raphael was looking at Michelangelo with a crossed vein in his head. Michelangelo. I already apologized. Leonardo. But relax, master. I already told the boy not to tell anyone about us or involve the police or the heroes in this matter. Splinter. But what makes you sure he won't tell anyone about us, Leonardo? Leonardo was silent. Splinter was right. How was he to know that a boy wouldn't talk about it to anyone or even question them, knowing that he and his brothers aren't like that because of a quirk? Leonardo was hoping Izuku wouldn't say anything. Leonardo? I don't know, Dad. Leonardo's answer made Splinter sigh before he could ask another question. Splinter? Do you even know who this kid is? Leonardo? Yes. His name is Izuku Midoriya. When Leonardo said the name Midoriya, Splinter's eyes widened. And his sons noticed their father's sudden behavior. Donatello? Master, is everything alright? Splinter? Yes, my son. I just remembered something. You can go. Michelangelo? Really? No punishment or anything like that? Wow. Michelangelo received a violent elbow from Raphael for having opened his mouth to speak. Splinter? No. No punishment. His children were surprised that their master answered Mikey's question, and it wasn't the answer they expected. Unless you want to, he said while throwing a serious look. Leo? Raph? Donnie? Mikey? No, master, they said as they ran. Raphael? Next time, Mikey, learn to be quiet. He shouted while everyone was away from Splinter, who could hear the brothers. Donatello? We almost went to the Hashi because of you. Michelangelo? Okay, I'll be quiet next time, I swear. Splinter stood still before dropping to his knees to meditate, but his head wouldn't allow it. He was still thinking about the boy's name. More precisely, in his last name. He knows that last name and hasn't heard from it in a long time. Splinter? Hisashi. Is he here? My son saw your son. He, who knew. How are you, my friend? He thought, looking at a shelf where he had 4 framed pictures with 4 pictures. One is from Splinter with his kids. Another is of Hamato Yashi with his late wife. Well, the remaining 2 were from Hamato with an old friend he hasn't seen in a long time. And the other is from Hamato with Hisashi when they were younger. End of flashback. Splinter was so thoughtful about yesterday's subject that he didn't even notice Leonardo stopped in front of him. Leonardo? Dad, is everything okay? Splinter? Huh? Oh, yes I am, Leonardo. I'm still thinking about what happened yesterday. Leonardo? Oh. Look, Dad. I promise it won't happen again, and I'm very sorry for what happened, he said as he bowed. Splinter? It's okay, Leonardo. It's not even the first time you've been seen after all. Clearly referring to the events in New York where he and his brothers met their allies and friends. They are currently taking care of New York while the brothers are away. Leonardo? Yes, but even so, I'll try not to make it happen again, he said as he got up and walked to Donnie. Splinter stood still as he continued to think about Izuku and his old friend Hisashi. Splinter? Will I ever see you again, my friend? Donatello fiddled with his computer and ran his hand over his face in frustration. Leonardo? Hey Donnie. Anything? Leo stood next to Donatello, who was sitting in the chair. Donatello? So, all I have is bad news. I haven't found anything about this League of Villains, and that tracker I put in that truck last night is having a lot of signal interference. Leonardo? Have you tried to fix it? Donatello? Yes, I've tried it, but it's not working anyway. It's like this interference isn't coming from a device, antenna, or anything like that. The way now is to go out there again and try to get more information. Not to mention, we shouldn't miss being seen again. Leonardo? Right. Raph, Mikey. Raphael stopped training to look at Leonardo. Michelangelo was still enjoying his music. Even Raphael approached him and slapped his head and pointed at Leo, which made Mikey take off his headphones. Leonardo? Get your equipment. Let's go out again. Back to Izuku. Izuku was walking normally in the streets. He stayed a little later in his training. For him, spending more time training would be better. As much as Toshinori tells his successor not to exaggerate, as this will end up harming the boy and he needs a rest. The night was quiet, but to his misfortune, he saw a moving truck and he headed towards a place not too busy. Izuku didn't have a good feeling about who was driving that truck. He even thought about putting it aside, but a part of him told him to go there and investigate. He needed to be sure. Izuku? Damn it, Izuku. Izuku ran to where that truck was going, and without him knowing, about 4 figures jumped from one building to the other. Izuku approached to where the one walked stopped and was hiding. Until he saw the driver get out of the vehicle and put on a mask, and it's the same one those ninjas from yesterday were wearing. The ninja went to the back of the vehicle and opened its cargo, causing several other ninjas to come out. Izuku? It's them. What will they be up to this time? Izuku saw one of the ninja walk to a garage door and open it. Inside there are some boxes that seem to be quite heavy, and a guy who is wearing a black suit with a tie. Ninja? Did you bring everything we asked for? Subject? Yes, it's all there. If you want, you can check it out. This guy spoke in a very robotic way. One of the ninjas went to one of the boxes and opened it. There were more of those bottles inside with a gooey green liquid inside. The checking ninja gave a signal that everything is in there to the ninja who looked like the one who was commanding them. Ninja. Thanks for collaborating. Subject. As you humans say. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Get in touch if you need anything else. Ninja, take care Crom. As they talked, the remaining ninjas picked up and placed the boxes on the truckload. After that, the gate closes. Izuku wanted to do something, but he didn't know what to do. Those strange people are in his town, and he feared that bad garlic would happen. Until he got the hell out of there and decided to go warn the police and maybe the heroes, but first, he'd need proof. He took out his cell phone to take some pictures or record until he felt someone behind him. He turned around and saw one of the ninjas looking at him before kicking the boy and dragging him towards the others. Ninja 2. I found this kid spying on us. I believe he wanted to record us to alert the police or local heroes. Izuku saw the ninjas looking at him, all standing still. The boy was terrified. This was far worse than the stares he got at school, for the simple fact that people around him could kill him if they wanted to. Wait. Izuku looked up and saw that rookie ninja from last night. Novice ninja. That's the boy of that night. The night where me and the others were attacked by those turtles. If he's here, then he's definitely come to warn them. His comment made all the ninjas look at Izuku again. Now they see him as an enemy. Ninja 1. So you're an ally of those turtles. Izuku. And no. I don't even know who they were. Ninja 2. So why did you take out your cell phone to take pictures or footage of us? Izuku. Because. Izuku was very scared, but he took a deep breath and decided to put his fear aside. If he wants to be a hero, he first needs to put his fear aside and face the evil that is in front of him. Izuku. Because I won't let you guys do something bad in the city or in Japan. I won't let you go unnoticed. Izuku looked at them with a look that he was no longer afraid of. They were surprised, but unaffected. Ninja 2. So. He kicked the boy in the face, making him fall to the ground again. He was going to kick the boy in the stomach, but Izuku grabbed his leg and pulled him, causing the ninja to fall this time. Izuku went after him to attack him, but obviously, the others ninjas decided to act. Two grabbed and held the boy's arms, while the others started beating and kicking Izuku all over his body. The boy was trying to resist or fight back, but there was no way. After beating him so much, the ninjas who were holding his arms release him, and Izuku falls to the ground. He's full of bruises. Until the rookie took his sword to finish off the boy. Novice ninja. No witnesses or evidence. He raised his sword to slash and kill the boy until a shuriken hit his leg, making him groan in pain. The ninjas look around to see who did this, until Michelangelo. Buyakasha. They saw Mikey jumping towards one of the ninjas and knocking him down, but he didn't stop there. He advanced on another, who tried to attack the turtle, and wrapped their arm with the chains of his nunchaku, which he turned into a kusarigama, and threw him on top of another ninja. Raphael. Hello there. One ninja turned around, but ended up being grabbed by the face to be thrown at two ninjas. Donatello, who simply jumped in front of one of the ninjas that was heading for Raphael, and shocked him with one of his devices that he keeps with him. Izuku, who was still down on the ground, watched the turtle spring into action, but his vision was dim. But he could see that blue-banded turtle approached him and held him with both arms, and he heard him yelling at his brothers for them to go away. After that, Izuku closed his eyes. Afterwards, Izuku starts to open his eyes and sees that he was somewhere else. It wasn't a hospital, let alone his house. He starts to get up and sees he was in some kind of room. That place had a lot of comics and some hero posters, more from movies than any that exist. Izuku. What happened? Izuku kept his hand on his head to try to remember what happened until he remembers the ninjas having beaten him. The boy looks at his body and sees that he didn't have any bruises. Not only that, but he wasn't feeling any pain either. It was as if he had never received a beating a few moments ago. Izuku starts to sit on the side of the bed where he was until someone opens the door. Michelangelo. Oh, you woke up. So, how are you feeling? Izuku. I feel good. Thank you. Michelangelo. Oh, don't thank me, man. Master Splinter took good care of you. He made a point of taking care of you. I thought that was strange, but also nice of him. As for me, I offered to let you rest in my room. He said while leaving his arms open to demonstrate his room. Izuku. Thank you for your hospitality, and I'm sorry for being a nuisance, Mr. Turtle. He said as he stood up and made a small reference. Michelangelo. Hey, don't worry. And my name is Michelangelo, but you can call me Mikey. He said while smiling until someone else entered the room. Donatello. Looks like he's woken up. Good. How are you feeling, kid? Izuku. I'm fine. Ah, how long have I been here? Donatello. It's been 1 hour and 45 minutes. When Donnie said the time Izuku was there, he despaired. Izuku? Oh my god. My mom. I need to call her to let her know I'm fine. Izuku kept looking for his cell phone in his pockets, but it wasn't anywhere, which increased his despair. Oh no. Donatello. Calm down, kid. Your cell phone was damaged, but I fixed it. Come on, I left it on the lab table. He said as he and Mikey left the room. Izuku follows them, and as soon as he leaves the room, he starts looking around the hiding place. He was kind of fascinated by that place, so much so that he stopped following the two brothers. Raphael. Hey there. Izuku gets scared and looks back to see Raphael laughing at the scare the boy had. Raphael. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I couldn't resist. He said while catching his breath. I see you're better now. Izuku. Well. Why yes. Raphael. Hey, don't be afraid of me. I know, I look scary and intimidating, but I'm cool. Trust me. Michelangelo. Don't believe him, little guy. Izuku was startled to see Mikey appear behind the greenish man. Once he ate the pizza I left in the fridge and kept saying that he didn't eat it. He said while pointing to Raph's face. Raphael. Come on, I was hungry and I couldn't resist. Also, consider it karma. Michelangelo. For what? As far as I know I never took anything from you without telling you. He said with his arms crossed. Raphael. Oh no. And that time I found one of my say dirty from pizza on the table. Raphael had an angry face as he looked at Mikey who was sweating. Not to mention your pranks, which drive me crazy. Michelangelo. Hey, my pranks are funny. It's not my fault you have a short fuse. Raphael. Let's see who has a short fuse here. Raphael was running after Michelangelo, who was running from his brother as he screamed. On the other hand, Izuku looked like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Who knew that two mutant ninja turtles would be fighting for reasons that only brothers would fight? Donatello. They're always like that. It's become a habit. Donnie approached Izuku's side and extended the boy's cell phone to him. Here it is, kid. Izuku. Thank you. Izuku took out his cell phone and started looking for his mother's contact. When he finds it, he calls on time. He waited until his mother answered, until. Inko. Izuku, is that you? Inko had a tone that she was very worried, which was to be expected. Izuku. Hi mom. It's me. I just called to let you know that I'm fine, and I apologize for worrying you. Inko. What matters is that you're okay, honey. Anyway, where are you? Izuku. Izuku looked around to think what to say to his mother until he looked at the turtles and already had an idea. I'm at my friend's house that I made a while ago, mom. Inko. Friends. Why didn't you ever tell me about them? Izuku. I forgot to tell you. Izuku kept rooting for his mother to believe what he's saying. Inko. Are these friends of yours at least nice? Izuku. Yeah, they're cool. Izuku looked at where the three brothers were and saw Raph grabbing Mikey and throwing him on the kitchen table while Donnie tried to stop the two. Very cool. He said with a comical bead of sweat falling on his head. Inko. That's good. That made me relieved. But please, next time let me know. You know how worried I get. Izuku. I know, mom. It won't happen again, I promise. I'll be back home soon, okay? Inko. Okay, son. Take care and don't take too long. Izuku. Okay, mom. Bye. Izuku hung up the call and turned his attention to where the three brothers were. Raph was going for Mikey, but Donnie was holding him, but he was having a hard time. Izuku thought of a way to help defuse the situation, only. Raphael. Izuku heard a voice coming from behind him. When he turns around and he sees Leonardo and Splinter looking at where Raphael was. Splinter. That's enough. Donnie lets go of Raphael, who was scared with that look Splinter was giving him, and is stiffened. Raphael. Sorry, master. He said while making a quick reference. Until he looked at Mikey and gave that look. Next time you'll see. And that made Mikey cringe a little. Splinter. I apologize for what happened just now. They're always like this. Splinter turned his attention to Izuku, who was surprised to see a talking old rat. Izuku. It's okay. It didn't bother me. Splinter noticed Izuku's gaze and behavior. His children had already warned that Izuku already knows that they are not like that because of a quirk, and he knows that the boy has his head full of questions. Splinter. Your name is Izuku Midoriya, isn't it? Izuku. Why yes, sir. Splinter. I think you have a lot of questions on your mind. I think you'll want to sit down. Splinter motioned for the boy to sit on the couch, and he did. He felt that that mouse was not a bad person, so he felt he could trust him. As long as he didn't do anything bad to them. Splinter. My name is Splinter, but a long time ago, I had another name. Hamada Yashi, and I was a normal person. Izuku? You were? So you mean you're not like that because of a quirk too? Of course, I know these four aren't, but you too. Splinter? Exactly. A long time ago, I was just a student of a clan of ninjas who kept the peace. One day, I inherited a martial arts school before inheriting my father's role as clan leader. At school, I had a rival. He was my foster brother, Oroku Saki. Not only was he my rival in martial arts and ninjutsu, but we were also rivals for the love of a beautiful woman, Tang Shen. She chose to marry me, but Oroku Saki didn't accept that and insulted me in front of her. I lost my temper and ended up throwing Saki on the ground. Because of that, I ended up feeding the hatred he had against me. He wanted revenge against me. Izuku? And what happened next? Splinter? After a while, Oroku Saki discovered his heritage and rebuilt the Foot Clan, and he renamed himself as Shredder. He came back, set fire to my house and was about to kill me, but Shen interfered and died in my place. Izuku was shocked and even saddened by this story. He saw in Splinter's eyes that this story moved him, and it was an event that will always stay in his mind. Splinter. After that, I escaped and fled to America. I decided to make a new life in New York City. And so I wouldn't be lonely, I went to a pet store and bought 4 baby turtles. Izuku? What are you? So you weren't people? Leonardo? No. We were never human. Izuku was shocked and increasingly he wanted more answers. This was getting very interesting and Splinter noticed it. So he continued. Splinter. When I bought those 4 turtles, I was walking home when I bumped into a man and I felt bad for him. So I followed him. I walked into an alley and overheard a conversation between 2 strange men. I was startled by what I heard and I unintentionally scared a mouse hiding in the alley, causing those men to find me and try to kill me. I fought them off, but accidentally, I broke a vial of mutagen and the liquid that was that vial was spilled on me and the 4 little turtles. Which made us what we are now. Said while all the turtles stood beside their master and in front of Izuku. More and more, Izuku kept getting involved in this story. Every question he had was answered, but that ended up generating more questions. He wanted to ask these questions, but he didn't want to get in the way of Splinter's remaining story. Splinter. Since then, I've been hiding in the sewers of New York with those turtles. And more, they got bigger and smarter. I taught them the art of martial arts and ninjutsu for them because I knew that one day they would want to explore the surface, but I also knew it would be dangerous. So I named them after the painters and sculptors in a book on Renaissance art. And I accepted them as my sons. Splinter gave a signal for his sons to introduce themselves to Izuku. And so they did. Leonardo. My name is Leonardo and I am the leader of the group. Raphael. My name is Raphael and I'm the strong man of the group. Donatello. My name is Donatello and I'm the smartest of the group. Michelangelo. And my name is Michelangelo and I'm the most handsome of the group. Raphael. Most handsome. You're more like the goofiest of the group. Raph's comment made the others laugh, including Izuku. Mikey had a frown on his face. But Izuku had an important question in mind. Izuku. Wait, if you're from New York, why did you come here? Splinter. During the time we were in New York, we ended up having several enemies, we were even unlucky to see that the Shredder was there too. Michelangelo. But we also had a lot of friends. They're looking after New York while we're here. Donatello. But then, after we defeated several enemies and always got in the way of the Shredder's plan, we found out that he and the Foot Clan left New York to come here. Izuku. How did you guys find out? Izuku's question made Raphael get a mock face as he stared at Leo, who was blushing. Raphael. Thanks to his girlfriend here. He said while pointing to Leo, who stood with his arms crossed as he looked to the side. Leonardo. Okay, stop it. Raphael. Ah, come on. Admit that you two are in a relationship. Leonardo. Stop talking nonsense. He complained in a low tone while Raphael chuckled. Splinter. We don't know why they came here and we didn't want to be just curious, so we came here while New York is protected by our friends and allies. Whatever Oroku Saki's intentions, they sure aren't good. Izuku was scared and worried about the situation. Not only the city, but Japan has a group of villains and the heroes are unaware. Izuku. If they're here, why not ask the heroes for help? They can help. He said as he got up. Leonardo. That's what I told you yesterday, Midoriya. That's our problem. Besides, we don't want to expose our secrets. Imagine how everyone in the country will react when they find out that there are 4 talking ninja turtles, which are not like this because of a quirk. We don't want to be exposed to everyone. It used to be hard in New York, now imagine here. The atmosphere in that place got pretty boring, even that is interrupted by a sound that came from the computer. Donnie runs to him and alerts his brothers. Donatello. Guys, that tracker I put on that truck is working again. Leonardo, where is he? Donnie? Donatello. From what I'm seeing here, he's on the move in the city streets. If we hurry using our van, we can stop him. Leonardo. Right. Everyone grab your gear and let's go. Izuku watched the brothers get their weapons and equipment. He wants to do something, until he had an idea. Izuku. Wait. Izuku's scream made the brothers stop to look at him. Izuku. I want to help you guys. Leonardo. Midoriya, I already told you. This is our problem and this is also very dangerous. Izuku. Listen, I can't sit still while I'm aware that there are these villains that are here in my city and I can't do anything. Izuku's sudden scream startled the brothers and surprised Splinter. Izuku. I promise I won't get in the way, and I also promise I won't tell anyone about you or the clan. And I'll also try to hide your secret and help as much as possible. You already have allies in New York, so you can count on me as an ally here in Musatafu. Besides, what kind of hero would I be, knowing that there are people who are in need of help and that there is a threat here in the country and that I am not doing anything? Donatello. What do you mean, Midoriya? Izuku. My dream is to be a hero. A hero who wants to save everyone and help as many people as possible. I want to be a hero who faces evil head-on and saves people with a smile on his face. I refuse to pretending there's no evil in town when I know there is, and that no pro-hero knows it and isn't even fighting it. So please let me help you. The brothers were speechless. They saw in the boy's eyes that he wasn't paying lip service. Izuku indeed wants to help the brothers. The four stared at each other until they all nodded, but before one of them could say anything. Splinter. We accept. Everyone looked at Splinter in surprise and shock. Splinter. Actually, you remind me a lot of your father, young Izuku. Izuku. Did you already know my father? Obviously he was surprised. Splinter. When I was human, yes. He helped me win Tang Shen and we were very good friends. Until he moved and I never knew of him. By the way, how is he? Izuku. He's gone, Mr. Splinter. Splinter was surprised and even saddened to learn that one of his old friends had died. He actually saw a bit of Hisashi in Izuku and he found himself willing to take care of and also teach the boy the art of ninja. To make up for everything Izuku's father has done for him and also for the boy to have a good heart. Splinter. I'm sorry about that, young man. Izuku. It's okay. The important thing is that my father wanted me to fulfill my dream and for me to stay firm and strong. That and also for me to help those who needed help. That's what a hero does. He said with a determined and sincere smile. And Splinter liked what he saw and heard. Splinter turned to his sons and said. Splinter. Boys, let Izuku help. Also, teach him everything I taught you. Leonardo. Are you sure, father? Splinter. Absolutely. I'm grateful for what Hisashi has already done for me, and now it's my turn to repay. He said while looking at Izuku and smiling at him. The boy was surprised. He didn't expect this one. He was happy to know that not only will he help, but that they will also help him to become more skilled. Izuku felt quite blessed. Izuku. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Splinter, he said, bowed to the mouse, who was still smiling at the boy. Splinter. Call me Splinter, young Izuku. Izuku. Yes, sir. Raphael. So, let's go. We don't want to lose that truck. Leonardo. You're right, Raph. Would you like to help us, Izuku? Leo smiled at the boy, who returned the smile. Izuku. Absolutely. Izuku ran to the brothers. They had a truck to pick up. This is the beginning of a new friendship and a new life. As for Splinter, he just watched the youngsters walk away, but when he saw Izuku accompany his sons, Splinter thought of one thing. Splinter. I'll make up for it with what I can, my friend. I promise. He thought with a melancholy look as he looked at Izuku. We're still at the turtles' hideout. Right now, our heroes are walking into what appears to be some kind of garage. Inside we see the big van of the Ninja Turtles, which from the outside looks like a strange and quite unusual van. That's because we have a lot in it. Donatello. Izuku, you may not be the first human to enter this vehicle, but you are the first from Japan to enter it. Mikey, make a drum sound. Michelangelo. Let the drums roar. He said to make a sound with his mouth. That's right, Mikey tried to imitate drums. Raphael. What are you guys doing? Donnie, get on with it. You don't have to keep killing the boy with curiosity. He said with his arms crossed. Leonardo. Let them, Raph. He said while letting out a little laugh. He was finding it amusing. Izuku was confused but also curious to know what was too much inside the vehicle for the turtles, especially Donnie, to do this whole scene. Until the turtle had approached the vehicle, opened the door and allowed Izuku to enter. Donatello. Izuku. The said boy got into the vehicle and his eyes and mouth were wide open. Meet the turtle van. he shouted with a proud smile. Inside the big van there were gadgets, devices, a small notebook with an antenna, weapons that were planted in the vehicle. 2 were on both sides of the van, and 1 was in the middle of the vehicle. All this left Izuku impressed as his eyes seemed to be stars. Izuku, this is very awesome. You guys made this, he said while smiling and looking around the vehicle. Leonardo, it was Donnie who did it, to tell you the truth. He's not just smarter in the computer and math part. Donatello, thank you very much. You can sit here, Izuku. Donnie offered the other bench for Izuku to sit on and he did so. On the front of the vehicle, you had many buttons, with many functions. Donatello. Very well, let's see. Donnie pressed a button that made a small holographic map on the screen appear on the vehicle's display, and that map was pointing to where that truck was. Izuku saw where the truck was and got worried. Izuku. Wait, I know this street. It's very busy, even at night. Raphael. So what? Izuku. If you're going to take action, it's possible that one of you will be seen, even more so if you're getting out of the vehicle. The people can't see you guys. Donatello. Relax, Izuku. We already thought of that, he said while pressing a button, which makes the front of the vehicle release some suitcases. All the turtles take their suitcases, open them, and inside are big black hoodies. They all wear them and put on the hood. Donatello looks at Izuku's face and sees he looks confused, and Donnie already knows why. Donatello. We only use this for this kind of situation. And since you're coming with us. Donnie grabs a hockey mask and hands it to Izuku. Take it. Our friend from New York, Casey Jones, lent us one of your masks. This will help hide your face. Izuku picks it up and puts it on his face. Seeing that everyone was now ready, Donnie starts the van and accelerates. A wall opens on one of the city streets, and the van leaves at high speed. Focusing now on the Foot Clan ninjas, they already filled the truck with what they wanted to take. Inside them there were some melee weapons, large and small, such as knives, sickles, swords, maces, and among others. Other boxes had those bottles with the gooey green liquid inside. That freight truck was going to be the last to pick up the goods where they were taking them. They were planning something together with the League of Villains. The truck was walking quietly on the streets. There were a few people walking around, and the traffic was quiet. Most of the foot ninjas were inside the truck's cargo, others were lying on top to not be seen, and the rest were in the buildings accompanying the truck to escort the vehicle. The truck driver, who was not wearing the mask, was driving quietly. When he looked in the vehicle's rearview mirror and saw a van chasing them, and he was already informed who this vehicle belonged to. He activated the ear communicator to warn all ninjas about their uninvited guests. Driver. Attention everyone. The turtles are here. The ninjas from all over looked at the vehicle, which kept honking its horn to get their attention, and also to alert the people. Donatello. We found them, guys. Leonardo. Right. This time, we're not going to let them get away, and we're going to get this over with as quickly as possible before people call the heroes. Raphael. Then let's attack with everything. Donatello. Fine. Izuku, press the button. Izuku nods and does what Donnie said, only he has a problem. Izuku. Donnie, what button do I have to press? There are too many buttons here. Donatello. Press the number 3. Number 3. Izuku. 1. 2. 3. Izuku finds the button and presses it, making the vehicle throw some bowling balls at the ninjas that are on top and the others that are in the vehicle's load, who opened the door to try to help eliminate the turtles. Most ninjas dodged the balls, but there was one that ended up not dodging, causing the ball to hit full. Their jewels, and the turtles and Izuku saw that. Izuku. Donnie. Leo. Raph. Oh. Donatello. That must have hurt a lot. Donnie looked like he felt this. Izuku. Even I'm feeling this. Izuku turned pale with the scene. Raphael. That must have hurt more than Master Splinter's blows. Raphael was cringing. Leonardo. I prefer to forget what I just saw. Leo had his hand on his face and kept squeezing it. Mikey, who is in the back of the vehicle, did not see what happened. He saw his brother's reaction and decided to ask. Michelangelo. Guys, what happened? Izuku. Donnie. Leo. Raph. Nothing. They shouted with a scared face because of the question. While the van was moving, those ninjas who were in the buildings jumped on top of the turtles' vehicle to attack them. However, the occupants of the vehicle noticed their presence. Donatello. Looks like we have some unwanted guests, guys. Leonardo. So. Raph, take care of our guests. Raphael. With pleasure. Raph got a wild smile as he snapped his fingers. Raphael opened the vehicle's portal, grabbed hold of it and jumped on top of his vehicle. There were some ninjas there with some swords, others had metal claws. Raphael. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to invite you to leave this vehicle. Raphael lunged at them, with a ninja trying to attack him with his metal claws, but Raphael dodged and grabbed his left arm and swung his enemy around, causing his body and the other ninja to collide, and that fall out of the vehicle. One of the ninjas tried to attack him with his sword, but Raphael held his weapon with the palm of his two hands, then he threw his enemy's weapon aside, causing it to fall in the middle of the street. Unarmed, the ninja punched Raphael, who made a face that he felt nothing. Raphael. My turn. Raph only punched his enemy in the belly, making him choose and kneel in pain, but the turtle didn't let him down, as Raphael grabbed him by the back collar and threw his enemy out of the vehicle. Only one ninja left, who tried to pierce the turtle, but obviously failed, as Raph simply stepped to the side and turned his body, causing his enemy to pass him by. The ninja tried to attack him again, but Raphael hit his sword, causing his enemy to drop and lose it, which fell to the street. To finish, Raphael gave his opponent 2 beatings in the face and then delivered a barrage of punches to the ninja's torso, with Raph finishing him off with a direct kick to the stomach, causing the last ninja to fall to the street. Before Raphael could celebrate victory, he turned to the back of the vehicle and saw that other ninjas had jumped from the buildings to come to the top of the van. Not only that, Raph saw some vehicles chasing his van, which were 2 cars, being driven by the foot ninjas. Raphael. Guys, we have more company behind us. He said before going up and attacking the ninjas that were with him. Leonardo. Understood. Donnie, keep driving. Izuku, do whatever Donnie says. Mikey, I'm counting on you to carry that truck. I'll take care of the garbage in the back. Izuku. Donnie. Mikey. Right. Mikey opened the van door to prepare to jump to the vehicle, while Donnie accelerated the vehicle to help Mikey. Leonardo, on the other hand, opened the back doors of the van, took one of his katanas, and threw it at the front of the vehicle. When the weapon hit the front of the vehicle, Leonardo simply teleported to where his sword was and went into action. Izuku saw this and was wide-eyed. Izuku. I thought you guys didn't have quirks. He said while looking at Donnie, wanting to know how Leo did that. Donatello. What you saw was not a quirk, it's one of our mystical powers. He said as he got closer to the side of the truck. Mikey, you can go now. Michelangelo. Here I come. He shouted while jumping on the truck load. He got inside the vehicle's cargo, thus meeting the ninjas that were inside, who were just 4 ninjas. Mikey smiled as he attacked his enemies. It was going to be a tight fight, but Mikey would manage. A ninja tried to attack him, but Mikey dodged and kicked his ass, causing him to fall out of the vehicle. He took his nunchaku, but he changed his weapon to a Kusari Fundo type, as the chains extended longer than a nunchaku should. Not only that, but the chains were glowing orange. Michelangelo. So, who will be next? He said with a smile. Back at Leonardo, he was on top of the car until his senses were telling him to dodge, and when he does, bullets end up shooting out of the roof of the car. Leonardo was surprised by this. Either the foot ninjas are resorting to firearms or they were just plain baddies and just recently joined the clan side. Acting quickly, Leonardo opens the right rear door of the vehicle and forcefully pulls the occupant out of there while he was on top of the car, causing him to fall hard into a garbage can. While Leo was tending to the other occupants, in the other car, one of the ninjas was targeting him with a submachine gun, ready to shoot the leader of the group. But he didn't know that Raphael, who had already defeated all the ninjas on his part, saw what that bandit was doing. Thanks for watching and supporting us. To save his brother, Raph activates his mystical power, which is a clone made of energy. Raph's clone jumps out of the van and lands hard on the head of the car, causing a great impact due to its great strength, thus causing the vehicle to stop and lose speed. The clone has already disbanded. Fortunately, no civilians were injured, but I can't say the same for the vehicle's occupants. Leo, who had already taken down the second to last occupant, saw what happened and looked at Raph, who was also looking at his brother. Leonardo, thanks Raph. Now go help Mikey to stop the truck so we can get out of here as soon as possible. Raphael. Okay. Raph ran hard and jumped on top of the truck's load. He looked into the charge and saw Mikey taking down the last ninja that was standing, with several blows to the face with Mikey's nunchakus. Raphael. Apparently you don't need my help. He said while he was on top of the vehicle's load. Michelangelo. Well, we just need to stop this truck before the heroes show up. Agreeing with what his brother said, Raph leaves to go to the front of the truck. Raphael simply broke the glass of the left door of the truck with his fists and already pulled the occupant out of there, causing him to fall rolling in the street, leaving only the driver. Raphael got inside the vehicle and sat in the seat next to the driver, who was shaking with fear when he saw the thicker-shelled turtle sitting next to him. Raphael. Nice truck this one, huh? Raphael looked at him and smiled before punching him in the face, knocking the guy out. Raphael. I hope you don't mind if I hold the wheel a little bit. Raphael took the wheel and made the vehicle slow down gradually. It seems that there was no more confusion in the traffic, which was already a mess, and all the people who were on the sidewalks were looking and even filming all this mess, while others have already called for the police and for the heroes. Raphael. Phew. Thanks, buddy. He said while looking at the unconscious driver. Donnie stopped the van next to the truck and asked Izuku to open the vehicle's door, and so the greenish one did. Michelangelo and Raphael paid for the boxes that were in that truck and put them inside their vehicle. Leonardo, on the other hand, stopped the car he was driving as he simply kicked the driver out of the vehicle and took the wheel. He gets out of the car and runs straight to the van, which has the door closed, and races hard out of the mess. The heroes and the police were already arriving, and they don't want to stay there a second longer and get caught. Leonardo. Good job, guys. He said as he sat down. Michelangelo. That was close. Raphael. For me that was fun. Can we do it again? While Donnie was driving, Izuku already took off his mask, and the turtles took off the hood of his sweatshirt as they were already going back to the hideout, but before they would give Izuku a ride home, his mother was surely waiting for him. Izuku. Yes mom. I'm coming soon, don't worry. Izuku was talking to his mother on the cell phone to let her know that he is fine. Inko. Okay, son. I'm waiting here for you, okay? Izuku. Okay. And to make up for my delay, let me make dinner tonight. Inko. Are you sure? You don't have to. Izuku. Mom, I insist. Inko. Well, if you're saying. That's fine. Izuku. Right. Kisses, mom. Izuku hung up the call. Donatello. Your mother cares a lot about you, doesn't she? He said without taking his eyes off the road. Izuku. Yes. It's been that way since I was diagnosed as a quirkless. Since I was little, my dream was always to be a hero, and my parents supported me, even though they knew I didn't have any powers. Well, it was more my father who supported me than my mom. She wants me to achieve my dream, but she knows that hero work is dangerous, and so is the world. Now knowing that I am a quirkless. That made my mother very worried. Even more so when my father died. He said while looking at the window. Donatello. Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't know this subject was very sensitive. Izuku. It's okay, Donnie. At least this way, you guys know me better. He said while looking at Donatello and gave him a sincere smile. Izuku. Don't get me wrong. I love my mother and I want the city to be safe, not just for her, but for everyone. I know I can't save the world, but I want to save and help as many people as possible. Helping those in need. Especially people who were born without quirks like me. I may have suffered since I was 4 years old, but I want to show that I can. I want to show that I can be a hero too. I want to be a hero like my father saw. He said while looking at his right hand, which had the scars that were caused during those years of suffering. Leo, Mikey and Raph overheard the conversation and sympathized with Izuku. They know that some people who don't have quirk end up suffering out there. They were already wondering how Izuku must have spent his life, and they wanted to be wrong with what they thought. Now, the four brothers have created one more mission in their minds, to make Izuku more skilled and stronger for him to become a hero and achieve his dream. Raph approached the greenish one, grabbed his left shoulder and said. Raphael. Don't worry, little guy. You will conquer your dream, because we will help you to become stronger and more skilled. I'm not doing this because the master asked, but because I want to. He said with a sincere smile. Leonardo. Me too. It will be good to teach you some things, Izuku. I see great potential in you. Michelangelo. I'd like to teach you a few things too, dude. As long as you don't give up. Donatello. I make my brother's words my own too, Izuku. You can count on me on this one. Izuku didn't expect this one. He already thought these four turtles were amazing, but now, he admires them a lot. He sees these four brothers as his new heroes, friends and maybe as his brothers. Izuku was happy and even moved by it. For even these four mutant ninja turtles have seen that he can become a hero. His life was already starting to improve and he felt blessed for it. Izuku. Thanks. Guys. He said while smiling with some tears in his eyes. The four brothers smiled at him and even began to think of him as a possible little brother. Now with Izuku wanting to help them drive out or even wipe out the Foot Clan, and with him wanting to be a hero for noble reasons, they found themselves willing to help. With little time left to reach where Izuku lives, the boy decided to put an end to the now curiosity. Izuku. Guys, is it okay if I ask you a question? Leo. Raph. Donnie. Mikey. At will. Izuku. So, during the chase with that truck, I saw Leo using some kind of power, and Donnie said that this is not a quirk. May I know what that was? He asked as he turned towards the back of the vehicle. Leonardo. Ah, that was my mystical power that came through my swords. he said as he took out one of his katanas and raised it. When I took these swords that Master Splinter gave me to be the leader, they gave me a power that allows me to teleport where my swords are. Not only that, but I can also create portals with them, so I can teleport people and even objects. The problem is that I can't hold it for long, and I can't create a big portal for something big, like the van for example. He said while putting his sword back in his back. Raphael. My power allows me to multiply myself. I can create some clones of me and they do what I say. The problem is that they are made of energy, which is through my strength. If I use too much, I'll eventually get tired. Besides, my clones only take one hit. They might be strong, but they're tough like me. I only use it in case I'm busy with something. Michelangelo. My mystical power allows me to extend the chains of my weapon, and they are very unbreakable. Even if the person is very strong, he will not be able to break the chains of my weapons. Also, thanks to the power coming from the chains, I can take the weight off the person or object, making it easier for me to pull or lift them. The problem is that they have a limited range. Donatello. My mystical power allows my staff to get a big upgrade. My staff has other things, like a blade or a sledgehammer head. With that, I can improve them, making them much more stronger and bigger. The problem is, these improvements don't last long. Izuku was impressed and very surprised. For now, he knows that there is power that does not come from individuality. And Izuku had one more question. Izuku. If your powers came through your weapons, then does that mean that if I had one or used your weapons, I would have those powers too? Leonardo. Not from our weapons. Those powers already belong to us. Now about using another one, maybe there's a possibility you can get it. Maybe we'll find out one day. Leo was thoughtful. He wasn't entirely sure if Izuku would get mystical power with one of the weapons they have in their hideout. For those of you who are confused, let me explain. These weapons are relics of the Hamato clan. Hamato Yashi took them from his old home and brought them with him to New York. When Yashi turned into Splinter and decided to train his kids, he went back to the place where he was living to get the weapons back and put them in his new house, in the sewers of New York. Now in the sewers of Musatafu, they also brought the weapons, just in case. Arriving next to where Izuku lives, the greenish one leaves the vehicle, but before. Izuku? So, when are we going to meet again? And how are we going to meet? He asked before hearing his cell phone ring. He picks up his phone and sees a contact he didn't have before. And on it was written. Donnie D. Izuku looked at the turtle, who was looking at the boy while showing his T-phone, which was a cell phone he invented himself. Donatello. We'll get in touch with you, Izuku. Then we'll make an appointment to help you. Leonardo. For now, rest. Izuku. Okay. Thanks again, guys. He said while smiling and waving. The turtles smiled at him before closing the door and heading back to their hiding place. As Izuku walked back to his house, we went back to the turtles who are still in the van. Michelangelo. So what are we going to do with all this? Obviously, referring to the boxes that are. Leonardo. We can burn it, throw it away, or keep it. What matters is that at least we stopped it from reaching the Shredder and possibly the League of Villains as well. Maybe that will mess up your plans here a little. Raphael. But I still wonder. What would the Foot Clan do with all these weapons and the use? Especially with these new allies of theirs. Donatello. For now, we won't know until we find this league and find out more about them and defeat them all. For now, we have something else to focus on in the meantime. Obviously referring to Izuku. Leonardo. Well, apparently we have one more task ahead of us. Elsewhere, we see one of the foot ninjas bowing to that tiger that Izuku saw that night where he met the turtles. He names himself Tiger Claws. Tiger Claws. Tell me, what's the matter? Ninja. Those turtles showed up and messed everything up. They defeated everyone who was carrying the load and whoever was escorting. And the worst, they all had in the truck. Tiger is very angry, but before he can do anything, a figure appears behind him. It's okay. The tiger recognized the voice and dropped to his knees for that figure. Who was there as Orokusaki, or as he calls himself, the Shredder. He was wearing a kimono with the symbol of a foot on the side of the chest. His face was hidden in the shadows, with the lighting only reaching the rest of his body. Tiger Claws. Master, I'm sorry for the failure. Shredder. Like I said, it's fine. We already have what we need. Now, we just need to wait for Shigaraki to finish what he's doing and for us to help him and the League kill this All Might guy. After that, it will be their turn to reciprocate. He said as he turned and faced his armor. Time skip. Next day. Saturday. It was already Saturday morning and the sun was there to brighten the day. Izuku just came out of the bathroom after doing his daily hygiene, which is brushing his teeth and taking a shower. As he gets close to the living room, he sees his mother watching the news, even while standing. The news he was passing on was about that chase in the night. The TV was showing footage of some clan members being taken away by the police as they took off their masks and recognized the criminals. In addition, a video was also shown where a civilian was recording the chase with his cell phone. It was a video of only 5 seconds where it showed Raph fighting the ninjas standing on top of the van. All this while a reporter presented the case. Reporter. Last night, on the city streets, there was a case that looks like it came out of a movie. Where a strange van chased a moving truck. While the occupants of the truck were composed of criminals wearing strange ninja clothes, the occupants of the another vehicle were not clearly seen as they were wearing hoodies to hide their appearance. Then the report cuts to a middle-aged civilian giving a statement about what he saw yesterday. Citizen, I don't really know what they were, but I know they seemed to know who was in that truck from doing all that jazzing. Now how do they know? I have no idea. Then it cuts to a lady from the third who saw everything in her apartment window. Lady. I don't know what the intentions of those people who were in that van were, nor why they did it. But one thing is certain. They stopped some criminals. Then it cuts back to the reporter who was looking at the camera. Reporter. Who were those people who were in that van? Are they some kind of heroes, villains or just vigilantes? Well, we won't know until the police and the heroes have any success in this investigation. So stay tuned. Inko. The city is getting weirder. Izuku. Don't even tell me. Inko. Who could they be? Izuku. Well. I don't know, but maybe they're good people who just want to help. He said while smiling and looking out the window. Izuku. From here on, I will do my best to get stronger and achieve my dream. Watch me from up there, Dad. The remaining 5 months were absolute hard work for Izuku. He not only had training with All Might, but with the turtles as well. Plus he has to study a lot. To split the training time, Izuku told Toshinori that he would train on the beach every other day. Izuku said it was to rest the body and muscles after heavy training like that. But in fact, he was going to use that other day to train with the turtles, who already know about Izuku's training with hero number 1. Izuku told them the whole truth because the greenish one trusts them, and they trust the boy. Now, they know that the greenie was training to gain muscle. Therefore, they will train him so that he becomes skilled and knows how to defend and fight. From the turtles, Izuku learned a lot. With Leonardo, he learned some moves using only his arms and legs, without needing a weapon. The moves that Leonardo taught involve martial arts, ninja movement and ninjutsu. It was hard for Izuku to learn everything, but he at least learned enough to be able to defend himself. Raphael helped Izuku how to throw very strong punches and how to get tougher. This one was painful, as Raphael needed to give Izuku some punches to help with the resistance part. Not only that, he also needed to fight Raph and take as many punches as he could. He was very painful, but it proved to be worth it, as now, Izuku seemed to take more punches than he had lately. He was still in pain, but he needed to fight it, and Raph was happy to see his training was helping. Michelangelo helped Izuku how to have good reflexes and how to be agile. It wasn't painful, but it was tricky, as Mikey simply threw balloons filled with water at Izuku so he could dodge. The result was an Izuku all soaked and a Mikey all smiling and laughing. Over time, Izuku was getting the hang of it and started to dodge the balloons. Mikey was happy, but he wanted to make it more complicated for the greenish one when he put a green band over Izuku's eyes to see if he could dodge without seeing. And to his surprise, Izuku succeeded, but unfortunately for Mikey, the balloon hit Raphael's face, who obviously got angry and started running after Michelangelo. Donnie helped Izuku how to use some weapons. Izuku was reluctant to do so because the boy has no intention of killing anyone. But Donnie said it was necessary because Izuku would fight someone with a weapon, which the boy accepted. But, to make it easier, Donnie gave Izuku a ninja weapon that can be considered not so lethal, but is still capable of hurting and killing someone, but that can help in fights, which were 2 tonfa in his 2 arms. However, when touching them, Izuku felt strange, as if those tonfa had transferred something to him. He thought it might be a mystical power, but he put that aside as he needed to concentrate and train. It was very difficult training, as Donnie needed to attack with his staff so that Izuku could defend himself and fight back. It took a long time for Izuku to be able to fend off most of Donnie's attacks, but it helped a lot. Not only that, but Izuku was actually enjoying using those tonfas. Splinter watched as his sons were teaching Izuku how to improve further. They not only helped him with how to become more skilled, but they also helped him with other things, how to loosen up more and speak without shyness. Izuku is still shy, and every now and then, his stutter shows up again, but not as much as it used to. Splinter was happy that he not only taught his kids very well, but also saw how well they were getting along. Splinter saw the boy not just as a friend, but as a member of the family. Surely, Hisashi would be happy with what the turtles were doing for his son. With the training with All Might, Izuku trained like a monster to clean that beach. This left the hero impressed, but at the same time happy and proud. Of course, Izuku found difficulties with one piece of junk or another, but he found the strength to keep going. No matter how painful or difficult it was, Izuku would get up and keep going, because that's how he manages to win. February 26th. Exam day. Time: 6:08. Yoshinori was walking to the beach to see how the beach cleanup was progressing. When Izuku. Ah. He heard Izuku scream and ran to where he was, but stopped when he saw the boy on top of a pile of garbage as sunlight hit his entire body. Izuku. Yeah, I did it. I did it. He shouted as he raised both fists in the air. Yoshinori looked around and was shocked by what he saw. The beach was all clean. Yoshinori. I can't believe it. He actually managed to clean the beach. It's just that he went further. He cleaned more than I asked for. This is perfect. Oh my godness. You did a good job. Yoshinori was so impressed that he even turned into All Might. Izuku. All Might. He said tiredly. He now noticed the man's presence, but he stumbled and began to fall. Before Izuku could do anything to prevent the fall, All Might caught him, saving the boy from the fall. All Might. Good job, young man. Izuku. I did it, All Might. I managed to clean the whole beach. He said while smiling tiredly. All Might. Yeah, you blew me away, big boy. I wonder if anyone could do what you could do in just 10 months alone. All Might puts Izuku down, takes out his cell phone, and shows the boy his picture from 10 months ago. All Might. This was you 10 months ago. Crying with those rivers of tears of yours. Now look at you. You were already strong, but now, you're so much stronger. You've made great progress. We see that Izuku's entire body has gained more muscles and six packs. Izuku has become a great example of what it's like to have a beautiful ectomorph body. Izuku looked at his hands. All Might. You still have a lot to do to have full control of my power, but with that body of yours, I believe you can have access to it. Even if it's little, it's already halfway there. Izuku kept looking at his hands and wondering how it was that his life kept changing for the better. First, All Might chose him as his successor and helped him improve his body even more. Then came 4 Mutant Ninja Turtles from New York, who helped the boy become more skilled and consequently stronger as well. Izuku smiled and at the same time was getting emotional with some tears falling. All Might. Young Midoriya, are you okay? Izuku. I'm just happy, All Might. All this time we've spent together, with you helping me get stronger, I wonder if what I'm getting is luck or a blessing. All Might laughed as he patted the boy on the back. All Might. Don't dwell on it. This was all not luck, it was your hard work. You've earned it, young Midoriya. Now your reward, Izuku Midoriya. Izuku. Yes, sir. All Might plucked a strand of hair and held it. All Might. I was once told that there is a difference between a lucky person and a person who earned it. And what you did today, you earned it. Never forget that. Izuku stared at All Might in awe at these words, before clenching his right fist. The hero extended his hair to Izuku and said. All Might. Eat this. Izuku. Wait a minute, what? Izuku made a face that he couldn't believe what he heard. UA school entrance. Time: 8:30. We are in front of the doors of the UA. Several students from different schools were entering the building to take this test in order to get into UA, the most well-known and praised school in Japan. It is known for having students who are now popular heroes, such as All Might for example, who also was a student at this school. Izuku, who was wearing his school uniform, arrived running without getting tired due to his training. The problem was that he was in a hurry and he was nervous because this was the moment. It's today that he has to show how his 10 months of training with All Might and 5 months with the turtles paid off. Izuku. I arrived just in time. Said while walking. As he walked, Izuku was left thinking about what happened earlier today when All Might made the boy swallow his hair. Just for Izuku to remember that, he's already disgusted, but it was necessary. He didn't have time to test one for all, and was worried that he hadn't received the power, but according to All Might, soon the boy will feel the power within him, and that the boy will be able to use it during the exam, even more so. By your physique. Izuku stopped walking when he felt his cell phone vibrate. He picks up his device and sees that he had received messages from his mother, who had wished her son good luck, and from the 4 turtles. Donnie. Good luck, Izuku. Remember all you learned and studied. Raph. Check it out, boy. If you have to break and hit something, do it. Just do it. Mikey. Go on, Izuku. Show everything I've taught. Oh, and if you have to scream a catchphrase when you attack. Like I do when I scream. Buyakasha. Leo. You'll make it, Izuku. Me, Master Splinter and my brothers believe in you. Show them, Izuku. Izuku smiled and even laughed a little at Mikey's message. He was happy to see that more people believed him. Izuku put his cell phone away before he hurt anyone. Get out of my way, Deku. Izuku turned around and saw his former childhood friend. Kitsuki Bakugo. A boy who has short, spiky blonde hair with irregular bangs that fall over his eyebrows. His eyes are sharp and red in color. Bakugo. I told you to get out of my way or you'll die. Go, hurry up. Izuku didn't say anything and didn't show any reaction. He simply moved out of Bakugo's way, letting him pass. Some students looked at the blonde and were commenting on that attack where a villain, with a body full of slime, used Bakugo as a hostage and who was also using his power. Izuku had already commented on Bakugo to the turtles. Since they knew the boy is a quirkless, they asked him if he had a friend. That's when he commented on Bakugo. The only things the greenie said to them was that he stopped being friends with him because of his status and about him picking on the boy every time. There were other things besides that, but Izuku decided not to tell him because he knew if he did, the brothers would be angrier as they already were. And what they said to Izuku was, flashbacks. Leonardo. These kind of people shouldn't even be called friends. If I were you, Izuku, I wouldn't even want this guy's friendship anymore. Raphael. Izuku, if this guy stopped being your friend because of something you don't have or maybe other reasons, then it's already clear that this guy sucks. Michelangelo. I can be nice to everyone, but when someone isn't nice to me, I just walk away from them. You should do the same, Izuku. Donatello. One thing's for sure. If he's like that with you, then this guy doesn't care about you. If I were you, I'd do anything but not wanted this guy's friendship or respect him. End of flashbacks. Izuku kept looking at the Bakugo who was walking while thinking about what the brothers had said to him. A part of Izuku didn't want to do that, but the other part said to do what the turtles said. But another thing is certain, he shouldn't be afraid of him anymore. Izuku. Are they right? Does Kaken don't care about my friendship? Izuku remained still as he took a deep breath and closed his eyes to calm his nerves. Izuku. Come on, Izuku. You spent all this time training your body and practicing with 4 ninja turtles. Time to show you've changed. If I want to be a hero, then I have to face what's to come. Izuku thought of all the moments he spent with the turtles. Whether that night chasing that truck or when he trained with them at their hideout and whether they were talking to the boy about their lives. Izuku stayed calm and remained still with his eyes closed and a straight face before hearing a chuckle. Hehehe. That laugh seemed to come from a girl. Izuku opened his eyes and saw that a girl was trying to contain her laughter as he looked towards the greenish one. Her most notable features are her brown eyes, her short brown hair, 2 pink circles on either side of her cheeks, and the pads on the tips of each finger. Her name is Ichako Uraraka. Izuku. Ah, what are you laughing at? Ichako. It's just that you're on the side of this statue, and you had such a serious face that haha I couldn't resist, I'm sorry. She said while pointing to Izuku's side and trying to contain her laughter. Izuku was confused until he looked at her side and saw that he stopped at the side of one of the statues that had a rather funny appearance as she had a very serious expression. Izuku understood why the girl was laughing. After all, he had a straight face as he kept his eyes on the side of the statue. Izuku. I see. Haha, I didn't notice that here. He said while rubbing his head. Ichako. Again, I'm sorry I laughed. She said as he finished laughing, but he had a smile on his face. Izuku. And no, it's fine. Izuku has never talked to a girl in his life. After all, no one wanted to talk to a quirkless like him. Izuku noticed his stutter and the way he was talking. He was getting nervous around that girl. Izuku. Come on, Izuku. A girl is interacting with you. Remember what Mikey said. Flashback. During his training with Mikey, Izuku noticed how the turtle spoke without stuttering and without getting nervous. Once when they took a break, Izuku was drying himself because of the water balloons Mikey threw at him until the boy saw the turtle talking to someone in some kind of holographic device that also served to make calls. Mikey was talking to a girl named Rinette. Izuku gave space to let them talk alone, but what little he saw and heard, he could see how the two talked. He could see very well how those two were close friends and close. Maybe they are more than just friends, but Izuku didn't want to think about that. That's Mikey's personal life and he doesn't want to meddle in anything. However, another detail he saw was how Mikey talked without stuttering, without shaking and without getting nervous while talking to that girl. Izuku has never interacted with a single girl in his life, and if he tried, he would stutter and get on the shy side of him. He wanted to change that. He knows that your shyness might not be good for him. So, he needed help and he already knew who to ask. After Mikey finished talking to Rinette, he returned to where Izuku was to continue training. Seeing that he was coming for him, Izuku decided to act. Izuku. Mikey. Can I ask you something? Michelangelo. Sure. What is it, man? Izuku. How do you manage to talk without getting nervous and without stuttering? Even more talking to Aji girl. Mikey understood the reason for the question and blushed. He looked around to see if his brothers were keeping an eye out, but luckily for him, they were busy with other things. Mikey pulled Izuku into his room and looked at the boy with narrowed eyes. Michelangelo. What did you hear? Izuku. And then nothing much. I just heard how you were talking to that girl, and I let you two talk in peace. I swear. Michelangelo. So why did you ask me that question? Izuku. It's just I'll tell you the real thing, Mikey. I've never talked to a girl in my entire life. I've never tried because I'm shy, and also no one wanted to talk to me because of my status. Even if I tried, I would stutter or get nervous. I don't know what to do about it, so I wanted to ask for your advice or your help to solve this problem of mine. If it's not too much trouble, of course. Mikey looked at Izuku with a look that he couldn't believe what he heard. In Turtle's view, it looked like Izuku was begging for help and that Mikey was his only salvation. Michelangelo at this point saw himself as a possible hero for the boy and that he was willing to help even more. Michelangelo put his arm behind Izuku's neck and said, Michelangelo. No need to say more, Izuku. I, Michelangelo, will help you to interact better and help you to reach out to girls. Said in a very dramatic way, which made Izuku strange. Izuku? But that's not what I was. Izuku was silenced by Mikey, who put his finger in the boy's face. Michelangelo. Don't say anything. I already know what you need and I will help you. First. If you are going to talk to a girl and if your shy and nervous way is going to get to you, do this. Forget your nervousness, breathe slowly and calmly and speak. Follow these steps and you will see the magic happen. End of flashback. Remembering Mikey's advice, Izuku breathed slowly and calmly so he could talk to the girl in front of him. Izuku. I would have laughed too if I saw someone standing next to these statues. So I don't blame you for laughing. It's just that I was a little nervous and I stopped for a little while to breathe calmly. You know, to calm my nervousness. He said while smiling shyly and putting his hand behind his head. Ichako. Oh, yes. I understand you. I confess that I'm also a little nervous. After all, we're facing the UA to take an exam so we can get into it. Izuku. Yeah, but I feel like our efforts will pay off. I feel like we can do it. Ichako. That's it. Positive thinking first. How rude of me. My name is Ichako Uraraka. Izuku. Is she telling me her name? Oh my god. She's introducing to me. On the outside Izuku was calm, but on the inside he was very happy to see that Mikey's advice is giving positive results. Izuku. My name is Izuku Midoriya. He said while smiling. Ichako. Izuku. I thought your name was Deku. Izuku. Deku. Izuku was wide-eyed at what he heard. Ichako. It's just that I heard that boy who yelled at you, calling you Deku. So I thought that was your name. Izuku. Oh, so it's not. That guy who said that to me, he uses that name Deku as an insult. That name means useless, weak and helpless. He said while looking at the door where Bakugo passed. Ichako. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought it was your name because Deku reminds me of the word Dekiru, which means you can do it. That's why I thought this. Again, I'm sorry. Said while making a small reference to Izuku as a sign of forgiveness. Izuku was surprised at what he heard. For the first time, a person did not call him by that name to insult the boy and even saw that name as another. Izuku was happy about that. Izuku. It's okay. If you want you can even call me Dekiru. Izuku said smiling a little, but her cheeks were flushed. Ichako. Really? Izuku nodded. Right, Dekiru-kun. We better go in and take the exam. I wish you good luck, Dekiru-kun. She said while smiling. Izuku. Thank you. I wish you the same, Uraraka. Izuku returned the smile as the two walked together to the building. Izuku. Thank you so much, Mikey. Izuku was bursting with joy inside to see that he managed to have a conversation with a girl. During the written part of the exam, most had difficulties, but Izuku not so much. Due to his intelligence, studies and even spending time with Donnie, he finished the test faster than anyone else. After all the students finished the test, they all went to an auditorium. Unfortunately, Izuku ended up sitting next to Bakugo. The two didn't say a word until the light started to come up and a man appeared on stage in front of them. He is a tall thin man with long blonde hair, which he wears spiked up in a large tuft behind his head and a small brown mustache. He has rectangular eyes with concentric pupils and greenish-yellow irises and is almost always seen with a big smile on his face and has never been drawn with nostrils. His hero costume consists of a black jacket with a very high collar, finished off and complete with studs and matching black pants and high boots. He wears shoulder pads and a red belt and elbow pads, all with studs and black fingerless gloves. His neck is always obscured by a directional speaker that he uses with his quirk. He always wears a pair of headphones with the word Hage written on the headband and a pair of orange sunglasses. His name is Hisashi Yamada, but he is better known as Present Mick. Present Mick. Hello UA candidates. Welcome everyone to the school DJ show. Come on, say. Even with a Mick scream, everyone was silent. Izuku, on the other hand, was smiling when he saw the Present Mick. But he knew that the one who would be happier would be Michelangelo, who has already said that he is a fan of the Present Mick. And the reasons are already obvious. Present Mick. Wow, what a tough audience. Alright, let's get straight to the point. I'll give you a quick rundown of what the hands-on test will be like. Are you all ready? And again, no one to say anything, well, except one person. Izuku. Oh man, if Mikey were here, he'd freak out. It's good that the teachers here are professional heroes. Izuku got into that fanboy side of him when he saw the Present Mick. Bakugo. Shut up. Present Mick. Right. According to the rules, you will have 10 minutes of simulated urban battles. After this presentation, you all go to specific battle centers. Izuku and Bakugo looked at their ID cards. Izuku will be in Battle Center B, Bakugo will be in A. Bakugo? Is that right? That means we can't work as a team. Izuku? Izuku looked at his card and then took a quick look at Bakugo's, but he saw it. Bakugo? If you keep looking at my card, you'll die. You're lucky, because I wanted to finish you right now. Izuku didn't say anything and didn't even show any reaction, he just kept a neutral face while looking at Bakugo. Gradually he saw that what the turtle said made sense. Bakugo only cares about himself. Present Mick. In each of these battle centers, there are 3 types of fake villains, and each of them has points based on their difficulty level. You just need to use your quirks to earn points by immobilizing these fake villains in battles. But I warn you. No attacking other candidates or doing any anti-heroic action. This is totally prohibited. Excuse me, but can I ask you a question? One of the students stood up with his hand raised. Present Mick. Fine. You can ask. He said while pointing his finger at the student, causing a spotlight to rise above him. He is a relatively tall and muscular young man with a broad frame. He has short dark blue hair, neatly combed down and parted on the right side of his head, a small shaved patch near the base of his head, and rather square eyes that match the remarkably pointed shape of his jaw. He has a serious expression, and his eyebrows appear to be permanently pointed inwards, quite thin and long, the ends curved inwards, and he wears glasses with rectangular lenses. This young man is called Tenya Ida. Tenya. On this sheet here, it says that there are 4 types of villains. If this is a mistake, then the most reputable school in Japan should be ashamed of it. We are students who came here at UA to become exemplary heroes. And you, with the unkempt green hair. He pointed to Izuku, who was surprised to be called. I heard you muttering all the time, if you're not taking this seriously, I recommend you leave. You shouldn't be here. Something inside Izuku snapped. He felt uncomfortable with what Ida said. During all these 10 years, Izuku was always silent when people were saying something about him. But this time, Izuku decided not to be quiet. Before Present Mick could say anything, Izuku spoke first. Izuku, do you think I'm not taking this seriously? Firstly, if I'm bothering you with my mutterings, I apologize to the person sitting 2 chairs in front of me. I'm sorry if you're a guy who cares about anything. And second, you say I'm not taking this seriously, since you're the one who interrupted the Present Mick before he could finish explaining. Now answer me. Who's not taking this seriously here? Who interrupted the Present Mick's explanation? Me or you? He said while looking at Ida, who was silent. Bakugo was shocked by what he saw and heard. Izuku never responded like that to anyone. He was always silent, but now, he decided to speak for good. Bakugo? Since when can nerd talk like that? Izuku? Since when can I talk like that? Yes, even Izuku himself was shocked. He remembered that during the time he spent with Raphael, he saw the way the turtle talked without fear of talking to his face. Raphael said something to Izuku, which made the greenish man act like this. Flashback. In another flashback, we see that Izuku was sitting on the floor of the dojo room, resting and ignoring the pain he went through with his training with Raphael, who entered the place with a bag of ice in his hands. Raphael. You're holding up better than the last time, that's already great progress. He said while handing the bag of ice to Izuku, who accepted it. Izuku. Even so, it still hurts. Raphael. Ha. You haven't seen anything yet. I've felt worse physical pain during these years, so better get used to it. He said with a smile as he clapped his hand on his fist. During that time that Izuku spent with Raphael, he had noticed how he acted whether in training or with his brothers. And as time went by, the boy wanted to know one thing. Izuku. Raphael. Yes. Izuku. Out of curiosity. How do you react when someone, other than your brothers, says something about you in front of you and in front of everyone? He said while putting an ice pack on his right leg because of Raf's heavy training. Raphael. Huh. What are you? I already got the reason for this question. He said while smiling and putting his right arm behind Izuku's neck. You want to be someone tough, don't you? Izuku. That's not what I meant. Raphael. No, but it's what you want and need. Being kind and polite is good, Izuku. But you can't be silent all the time when someone says something that bothers you right in front of you. If that person said something wrong, speak up too, but don't put yourself down. Don't exaggerate and don't let your anger explode as you speak. Izuku. But isn't that what you do with Mikey? Raphael. Do as I say, not as I do. He said while smiling and ruffling the greenish hair. End of flashback. Izuku. Damn, Raphael. What did you do to me? I don't know whether to be grateful or worried. Present Mick. Alright, calm down now. Candidate number 7111, what that kid just said is true. Next time, wait for me to finish explaining before I interrupt. That robot you mentioned is the pointer 0. That is, he is worth 0 points. The 0 pointer is an obstacle you must avoid, and he is in every battle center. You can defeat him, but you won't gain anything by doing so. Denya. Thanks for explaining and sorry for interrupting. He said as he sat back down. Present Mick. So that's all. But first, let's go to our school's motto. As Napoleon Bonaparte once said, a true hero is one who overcomes life's difficulties. So go beyond, plus ultra. Izuku took the paper from him and looked at it with a serious look before smiling excitedly. 30 minutes later. Izuku and the other candidates were already at their battle centers. The boy is there in his sweater as he shivers, but not from fear. In fact, Izuku doesn't know why he's shaking like that. But he didn't want to think about it. It was time to show how those months of training had a positive result. Izuku took a deep breath and let it out very slowly and calmly. He looked around and saw that many of the candidates were calm, except for one. He saw that Ichako looked very nervous. Izuku. Uraraka. She seems to be very nervous. Come on, Izuku. Help her. She was nice to you. Be nice to her too. He thought before going to her. Izuku was walking towards the girl when he felt someone grab her shoulder. He looked back and saw that it was Iida who grabbed him. Denya. That girl looks like she's concentrating. What do you think you're doing? You will mess her up. Want to destroy her chances. Izuku grew tired of these foregone conclusions from Iida. Then he took his hand off her shoulder and said. Izuku. Look, I have a question for you. If you saw a child crying in the middle of the street because he lost his parents, would you walk up to him and ask him to shut up because his crying is annoying? Denya. Iida didn't know what to say. He understood the reason for the question, but didn't know what to answer because he noticed that he made a rash decision with Izuku for the second time. Izuku. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you're a bad person. Telling other people to do the right thing might be a good thing, but not the way you're doing it. Don't make rash decisions without thinking first. Izuku. Oh boy. What got into me? I never spoke like that. Did the turtle's advice make me look like this? Izuku's words made Iida think well. He noticed that Izuku is right, as much as it pained him to admit it. Before he could say anything else, the present Mick yelled. Present Mick. Alright, let's get started. Everyone looked up and saw the hero looking at them. Present Mick. What are you doing standing there? In real life there's no countdown. Come on, listeners. Izuku and the other candidates started running towards the battle center. Izuku. Come on, Izuku. You have the strength of All Might with you, and you have received training from 4 Mutant Turtles ninjas. According to All Might, the one for all will work in maybe 2 or 3 hours, and my body is already more than adequate. But how do I know I'll be using his quirk? How will I activate? What are the side effects? Izuku kept running until a robot from one point broke through a wall and stood in front of him. Soon, Pointer 1 saw Izuku and ran towards him. Izuku was scared, but soon he remembered what Donnie said. Flashback. During training with Donnie, Izuku falls to the ground as the turtle hits him in the belly with his staff. Wanting to take a break, Donatello reached out to the boy, who accepted his help. Donatello. Izuku, you have to stop hesitating and holding yourself back like this. Because if you keep this up, the enemy will beat you and your will died. Izuku, sorry Donnie. The thing is I'm sure afraid. Donatello. From what? To fight someone with a weapon or just to fight someone? Izuku. Maybe both. Donatello. Damn Izuku, you shouldn't be too afraid of something like that. I've faced scary things, I've faced enemies bigger than me, I've even faced some without having my weapon. I faced many enemies alone. Izuku. I don't really know what to say about it. 1 minute I'm without fear, then it comes back and makes me freeze and shake. Donnie, have you ever been like that while you were scared? Donatello. Sometimes. But I let it have that when Master Splinter said that. Fear is a common thing that will always be with you. He can be a defensive tool, but if you let him mess with you, you'll never know what to do. It's normal to be afraid, Izuku. But you need to face it and don't let it limit you. Imagine if you were fighting someone who wants to kill you and he sees you're letting your fear hold you back, do you think he'll have sympathy for you? He said as he walked away from Izuku, who was reflecting on Donnie's words. Think about your future. Think about your victory. Breathe and attack. He said as he turned around and pointed his bow staff towards Izuku with a determined expression. End of flashback. Izuku, who had his eyes closed, took a deep breath and felt something on his right arm. He opens his eyes and runs in the direction of Pointer 1. The robot attacks him, but he dodges it and punches him in the head, causing it to break and consequently causing the robot to short circuit and break. Izuku looked at his right arm and saw red lines around it. He already figured out what that was. One for all is taking effect. Izuku. That's it. Thank you, Dawn. Izuku was happy to see that he was able to use the power without feeling any pain. But he didn't have time to celebrate for 2 reasons. Time is ticking and another robot appears next to him. Pointer 2. Izuku looks at him with a straight face and advances towards him. The robot attacks it with one of its legs, but Izuku got right below the robot and punched it using All Might's quirk, causing Pointer 2 to go flying before falling to the ground and being destroyed. 3 meters. Seeing that he can now use the power, Izuku runs hard to find other robots. He sees that other candidates were destroying other robots. Like the Ichako that made 4 robots float until he put his fingers together, causing them to fall and be destroyed. Izuku was impressed by his power as it is the first time he has seen her using it. Ichako. With that I already got about 28 points. She said while she was panting before running. Izuku. She already got 28. Wow, she is good. But why am I still standing? Izuku ran in another direction and saw that a 3-point robot was heading towards one of the candidates, who appeared to be French. He's Yuga Aoyama, and he was busy shooting his laser at another robot. When he realized that Pointer 3 was already heading towards him, it was too late, but he saw Izuku above the robot before hitting him with his hands together, causing the robot to be destroyed. Izuku looks in Aoyama's direction and asks. Izuku? Are you okay? Yuga? Of course. Thank you for your help, Manami. We make a good pair. He said while striking a dramatic pose, which Izuku found very strange. Izuku? Okay then, good luck. He said before running in search of another robot. He kept running until he stopped when he saw 3 robots. One was a 2-point and the other 2 were a 3-point and a 1-point. Izuku runs towards the 2-point robot, grabs its leg and rips it off. He uses it to pierce Pointer 2 before throwing it towards Pointer 1, causing it to be destroyed. As for what was left, Izuku jumped up and yelled. Izuku. Buyakasha. He punched Pointer 3's body, causing him to be obviously destroyed. Izuku walks away from the wreckage of the machine and sees that he has 12 points, which is something. Izuku starts running to find more robots before time runs out. Monitoring room. In the monitoring room, the UA teachers were there. They were watching the students taking the practical exam and analyzing each one of them. Nezu. Clearly they have no idea how many villains are present or where they are located, they have a limited time and must cover the area and hunt down to the last target. Said Nezu while he, the rest of the teachers and the judges, watched the exam scroll on a screen. Nezu. Some use intelligence gathering skills to plan strategies. Said Nezu while looking at the image of a boy with tentacles standing on top of a building. Known as Mizo Shoji. Nezu. While others rely on your speed to stay ahead of others. He said looking at the image of Iida as he ran and skidded on the ground. Nezu. Of course, keep your cool under pressure. He said while looking at the image of Aoyama, who was shooting with his laser while looking at the camera. Nezu. Beyond pure power and combat skill. Said when the image of Bakugo while he was panting and smiling like a maniac. He wanted Izuku to be there so that he could show the greenish all his power in order to humiliate him. Nezu. The most successful students use a combination of all these tactics. They are the ones who can get the highest scores on this test. Said Nezu while looking at the images. Midnight. I would say this year's group looks pretty promising. Ashinori. Well, there's still no way to really know. The real test starts now. He opened a box that contained a red button and pressed it. Back at Izuku, he was panting and behind him was a destroyed 3-pointer. Izuku. 25 points. I better get more before time runs out. Before Izuku could run to go after other spots, the fictional city he was in began to shake as dust appeared in the air. The students were in shock as something large headed towards them, as windows cracked as it passed the buildings. Izuku looked around to see what the cause of the tremor and crash was, and when he looked up, he saw a robot the size of a titan, staring at them as it crushed a building on top of them. Izuku remembers what President Mick said before the exam started. Izuku? Are you kidding that this is the Pointer Zero? Didn't they exaggerate? He thought while shivering a little. Zero Pointer punched the ground, causing dust to rise in the air and obstruct the students' vision. Each of them had to shield their eyes from the wind dust caused by the force of the punch. Izuku opened his eyes after the wind subsided. In the dust, he saw the two candidates running away from the robot, including Iida, who saw Izuku standing there, looking at the robot. Yoshinori. This is where things are going to get more interesting. A person's true character is revealed when danger is in front of him. Present Mick. Less than 2 minutes to go. Izuku woke up from his trance upon hearing Mick scream. Izuku. Less than 2 minutes, I better go out and look for some more robots. Izuku started to run away from the Zero Pointer. Until he heard a groan of pain. Izuku stopped running, and on his back, he looked back. He saw a Chaco trapped in the middle of rubble, and the worst, no one was helping. Izuku. Uraraka. Izuku started to shake more. Not out of fear, but out of anger. She was there in need of help, and no one wanted to help. Izuku. How can they do this? Why isn't anyone helping her? He thought angrily as he looked with his eyes at those who were running away for a bit before looking at the Zero Pointer angrily. Izuku remembered the gentle way she had treated him and started running at high speed towards her to save the girl. Yoshinori. There is no merit in defeating a fake villain. Izuku starts inserting one for all into his legs, causing him to do a super jump. Yoshinori. But this is a perfect opportunity to shine. When Izuku jumped, Achako and the teachers in the monitoring room saw the boy do it. Look to my left and you'll what I've tried. Look to my right to see the crimes. Look throughout my past and you'll see all the lies I've lied. And why I'm justified. Izuku clenched his right fist and inserted one for all into it, only it was more than it should have, but he didn't care. His emotion spoke louder than he did. Look to my left and you'll what I've tried. Look to my right to see the crimes. Look throughout my past and you'll see all the lies I've lied. Izuku remembers All Might's words as he felt the energy in his fist. And why I'm justified. Izuku. Swallow that smash. Izuku shouted before punching the Zero Pointer's face hard, causing him to be totally destroyed. Which resulted in an explosion in his face as his body was pushed back with the force of the punch and started to fall as the explosion started. Look in my eyes. Ichako and the other candidates were shocked by Izuku's display of power, with most gaping. You'll see my life of crime. Yoshinori. That's right. With a proud smile. Show them who you are. Show them what it means to be a hero. Nothing is nobler than self-sacrifice. Look in my past and you'll see all the lies, all the lies, all the lies. Izuku had a shocked expression on his face as his hand and arm were quite sore as he had exceeded the limit of how much power he could handle. Or justified. Izuku. I acted without thinking like that time I saved Kaken. But now it's quite different. Izuku thought while looking at the fallen robot. Present Mick. Just a minute left. Present Mick's warning made Izuku come out of his shock and realized where he was when he started to fall. Izuku despaired because he didn't think about how to land. His legs would hold up to land on the floor, but it's going to hurt. Izuku spun his body around and braced himself for the impact. It was then that he landed on the ground, which caused some dust to appear, causing small cracks. His legs were okay, but the pain was unbearable. Izuku. Oh damn. It's like that movie said, that's really hard on the knees. Oh god. He said before looking at his broken arm. So this is the side effect when I go over my limits, huh? Good to know. The pain was unbearable for Izuku, but thanks to his body and his training with the turtles, he was resisting. Izuku looked around and saw Achako, who still had her leg in the rubble, but was looking at the greenish man with a shocked face. Izuku approached her and used his left arm to clear the rubble from her, throwing it away. Izuku. Are you okay, Uraraka? Achako. I'm fine. Thanks for saving me. Izuku. Good. Can you get up? Achako tries to get up, but almost falls to the ground as her foot was twisted for obvious reasons. She just didn't fall because Izuku used his left arm to prevent the girl from falling. But he groaned in pain, for she accidentally touched his right arm, and only now did she notice the state of the arm. Achako. Oh my gosh. You need to go to a nurse. Izuku. No. Not yet. I still need to get some points too. Present Mick. Time's up. Izuku was interrupted by Mick's scream. Izuku. What? No. Izuku got a little crestfallen as he thinks he didn't have enough points to pass. Achako. Takeru-kun, are you okay? Achako saw the greenish man's reaction and was even more worried. Izuku. Of course I'm fine, yes. Izuku gave the girl a smile. "Come on, I'll help you get to the nurse," said when making the girl put her right arm behind the greenish's neck while he holds her torso with his left arm. The girl blushed as she looked at the greenish one. She was amazed to see what he's done and what he's doing now. He's in worse pain than hers, and he's missed getting more points just to save her. Ochako didn't know what to say. The two continued walking until the two ran into the other candidates, who were still in shock from what they saw. Izuku, a very simple-looking boy, destroyed a huge robot like that with one punch. Izuku didn't mind the looks he was getting, even more so that he was a little upset and even annoyed that they hadn't helped the girl. But on the other hand, he was happy to have helped, even though he was in a lot of pain right now. Denya. He sacrificed himself to save that girl, even though he knew it was very dangerous and that the zero-pointer wouldn't give any points. He must have known there was little time left. How many more points did he need to pass? He put his life at risk. But even so, he didn't hesitate to go and jump. He thought as he clasped his hands together. If this wasn't for the exam, then of course I would do the same thing. Wait. The exam, the judges. They saw it. He started to think about it when the candidates heard someone approaching. They turned to see Recovery Girl walking towards them. "Recovery Girl. Don't worry anymore. I'm already here. Anyone who is injured, please come to me." Seeing her, Izuku recognized her and walked towards her holding Ochako. "Izuku. Recovery Girl, please help her," he said as he put Ochako on the floor with delicacy. "Recovery Girl. Sure, leave it to me. But first, let me help you," she said looking at the boy's right arm. "Izuku. No need, I just broke my arm. I can take it." "Recovery Girl. Still, you can't keep your arm like that. It won't do you any good. Come on, sit on the floor." Izuku obeys and sits down. So Recovery examined the boy's entire arm before kissing his head, making his healing quirk do its job. The pain was slowly fading, but Izuku was feeling tired and ended up inconsistent. "Ochako. What happened to him?" "Recovery Girl. It's okay. He'll just need to rest. The pain was so bad that at some point or another he would give in, so I spared him more suffering before it got worse." Recovery Girl watched as Ochako looked at Izuku. The girl was worried about the greenish. She is very grateful that he saved his life, but she was saddened to think that he wouldn't end up getting into UA because he didn't have enough points. Ochako saw Izuku as her hero. "Recovery Girl. Alright, young lady. I'll help you now. Anyone who needs help the most, come over here." "Denya. I wonder what if the exam had other factors that I didn't take into account. Is it possible that he..." The boy thought as he looked at Izuku with wide eyes. A week later. We are at the Midoriya's house and it was already dark. Izuku was in his room and he was on a call with the turtles. "Izuku. You mean they haven't found anything from the Foot Clan yet?" "Donatello. Nothing. Since that night, we've been looking all over town for anything from them, but we haven't found anything. It's like they've given up or planned something." "Leonardo. Especially with the heroes being on alert after that chase." "Izuku. I understand, but I believe that at some point or another, we'll find them and finish them off. If you need my help, I'll help you guys. Even if I'm in the UA. Michelangelo. Speaking of which, man. Has the letter arrived from the UA yet? To see if it got through." Izuku was a little silent. He feared he hadn't passed, even getting a few points. A part of him feared he wouldn't make it, but the other part said he would. "Michelangelo. Izuku. Izuku. Huh. It hasn't arrived yet. Raphael. Dude, relax. 25 points might be enough to pass. Just think positive." "Michelangelo. It's weird that you say that. Usually I'm the one who talks about it." "Raphael. Come on, I can also be nice and encourage people." "Michelangelo. Liar," he said while trying to contain his laughter. "Raphael. What did you say?" "Michelangelo. Nothing." "Leonardo. Guys, we're losing focus here. Look, Izuku, we believe you made it through. Even if you didn't make it, you did a noble thing today. You showed what to be a hero." "Izuku, thanks Leo." Izuku was happy for Leonardo's words before he heard his mother knocking on his door. "Inko. Izuku. Izuku. The letter has arrived," he said while knocking on the door of his son's room. "Izuku. I'll have to hang up, guys. I'll call you later." Izuku hung up the call and walked to the door of his floor, and upon opening it, he found his mother gasping as she held a letter from UA that had the exam results. The boy calmly takes the letter, looks at his mother, and tells her that he needed to see the results himself. Inside the room, Izuku was at his desk looking at the letter before picking it up and tearing it apart. When opening, a metal disc falls on the table, and a hologram comes out. "All Might. I'm here in projection form," said All Might in his hero form in the hologram, which made Izuku scared. "Izuku. All Might, but that letter is from UA. Isn't it?" Izuku questioned while watching the hologram. All Might. I know it's been a while, but I had a lot of paperwork to take care of, so that's why I couldn't get in touch. For that, I apologize. Said while bowing. To be honest, I came to this city because I received an invitation to work at UA. Izuku. What's it like? Is he working at UA? All Might. Now let's get straight to the point. In the written test, you passed with flying colors. In the practical test, you got 25 points. Which is enough to pass. All Might's words made Izuku very relieved. That dread of his is gone. He was glad he made it through. All Might. But that's not all. All Might's comment made Izuku look carefully. What many didn't know is that there were other factors in the exam. Izuku. Other factors? What do you mean? All Might. Before you look at your results, check out this short video. He said while turning on a screen and a video starts with Uraraka appearing. Ichako. Excuse me. I'd like a second of yours. Izuku. Uraraka. All Might. This girl came personally to negotiate after the race. Want to know more? Let's keep watching. All Might pressed play and the video on the screen continued. Ichako. You know that boy called Izuku Midoriya? The one with messy green hair and freckles. Izuku. She's talking about me, but why? Ichako. Would it be possible to give him some points I made? Izuku's eyes widened at what he heard. Ichako. I heard him say he needed a few more points to get through. So I was wondering if I could offer him some more of the points I got. He didn't get any more points because of me. So why? Please let me reciprocate. Please. Izuku was speechless. He began to remember Bakugo's words saying that Izuku will never be a hero. From Death Arm scolding him. And among other horrible words he'd heard about him. But he also remembered the kind words he'd received from his brothers, from Splinter, from All Might, his mother, his father, and now her. Izuku was thrilled to see that his reckless action was therefore heroic, made one person willing to help the boy. All Might. In addition to quirk, his actions spur others to act. All Might turned to the camera and continued. The exam wasn't just scoring the result against villains. All Might continued the video. Present Mick. Relax little listener. He earned enough points to pass, and even if he didn't, you wouldn't need to give him points. He said as he patted the girl on the head. All Might. We've all seen what you've done, young man. Not only have you helped that young lady, but you've also helped other candidates while you're chasing your points. How would a hero's course reject people who save others and do the right thing? After all, this is what a hero does. You received points other than combat points. You received rescue points. These points are awarded by a panel of judges. It's one of the skills we cherish here at UA. All Might shows Izuku's results and he is in shock. NA circumflex degrees 1. Izuku Midoriya. Villain points. 25. Rescue points. 150. Izuku couldn't believe what he was seeing. He placed first in the exam because of rescue points. And he won by his actions. All Might. You too passed. So come on, young Midoriya. Welcome to your Hero Academy. Izuku didn't show any reaction other than joy, and his tears didn't stop falling. Izuku stands up with tears still streaming down his face. He was never this happy in his life. He looked at a picture frame where he and his father had been when he was little, and he smiled even more as he remembered those moments. Izuku was managing to follow his dream and he was feeling it. Izuku leaves his room as his mother is walking down the hall, but she stops when she sees her son. He looked at her and gave her the biggest brightest smile, and says he did it. Inko was happy for him and gave her son a huge hug as she got emotional about him. Soon she walks away and says that they should celebrate, but before that, Izuku said that he would change clothes, and in fact, he would need to send a message to his brothers. At the turtles' hideout, they were worried about the results of Izuku's exam. Until they hear a call coming on Leonardo's T-phone. It was Izuku who was calling, and he was obviously listening. Leo talks to the boy on the T-phone until he turns to his brothers and says he made it. Obviously, they were happy and cheered as if they had won the lottery, which made Izuku laugh on the other end of the line. Splinter watched as his children were cheering and cheering. This display of joy proves that his children and the son of his late friend see each other as brothers. He looked at his old picture that he has with Hisashi and smiles to look at it and to think that Hisashi would be happy for that. Back to Izuku. He wiped the tears from his face and took a deep breath. His path to becoming a hero would begin now, and he felt ready for whatever came. He glanced at his window and smiled as he looked up at the starry sky. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.